Hey, hello, I'm Mekkah. Welcome to a Fire Emblem 8 The Sacred Stones Gilliam presents, aka an FE8 draft relay SOYO practice. We'll get into all those terms in a minute, but the most important part for you to know right now is that we're speedrunning FE8 using only Gilliam and a couple of free units that are available to everyone. Imagine it's a draft race, but we have a bad team instead of a good team, basically. So I'm going to start by training my Eirika because she's free. Even though we could do a lot more work with Seth, we're just going to do Eirika. What we're going to do is show a commentary of a fast playthrough of FE8, fast between quotation marks, that involves using a bad unit rather than a really good unit like Seth or Cormac or Vanessa, and show how that will go, because I haven't gotten the chance to do that a whole lot. And the other thing we're going to do is show off Eirika Route, because a lot of the draft race content for FE8 that I've done is F1 Route, and I thought, you know, it would be nice to commentate Eirika Route for a change. So that's what we're going to do. Now, what is this event that I'm talking about? I'm practicing for FE8's SOYO Relay draft race on October 19th. That's a Saturday. That's next week from when I'm recording this. So what we're going to do is we have 3 teams of 4 people, and I think 3 people per team participate. So it's me, Klaire, and Pyrope that are doing FE8, and we each get to play a portion of the game, but we don't draft our own units. Instead, our opponent's teams will draft our in-game teams for us. So we'll take turns picking the worst unit we can think of for the other teams. So we can't expect to have good units like Vanessa, like Cormac, like Seth. Instead, we're stuck with units that are bad. And according to our projections of how the draft will probably go, the worst units are probably that we get to draft, because there's 5 rounds. And the worst units we can expect to have are obviously like La Rochelle, Ewan, Amelia, you know, the stuff like that. But after 5 rounds, we're going to have to get some viable as units. And it turns out that the best units for that round will probably be Ford, because of course, Gilliam, Garcia, maybe Dazla, maybe there's some other candidates I'm not thinking of, but those are probably the units that they're forced to give us. And so Gilliam, when you think about it, is basically best of the worst. He is bad enough to where he gets picked eventually, but good enough to where you can still use him to beat the game, quote-unquote, quickly. Now, in addition to Gilliam, we are allowed to use some free units that we usually get in draft races. So that's the Lord, Eirika, and Ephraim. That's Seth for the first 5 chapters, including prologue. So after the end of chapter 4, we can no longer use him. Right now, we're underutilizing him because we want to train Eirika as much as possible, and Gilliam, of course. And in addition to that, we get to use Myrrh and Cyrene, and maybe some other reasons for forgetting Orson, I guess it's a free unit. So one of the reasons that Gilliam is so bad is that he exists. one of the reasons he's so bad is because he's here competing for experience with Eirika. I could feed this whole chapter to Eirika and make her stronger faster, but instead I have to feed Gilliam, or else he's never going to keep up and promote by chapter 8 when we get the first Night Crest. So we're kind of dividing the experience between the 2 of them. Gilliam will never be able to kill his boss, but fortunately this Eirika is leveling up really well. I think this is her 2nd strength proc in 3 levels. Even if my Eirika wasn't super blessed, it's just nice to train Eirika, because we're going to be stuck with her the whole game since we're going Eirika route. And having her be able to A, survive hits, and B, contribute in combat is just such a time save. Gilliam doesn't even keep up with her for most of the game, because, well, for a portion of the game, because she's going to have 5 move to his 4. Then he promotes and he gets 6 from Great Knight. But then Eirika's going to promote and get 7. So he's going to be behind for a lot of it. And so Eirika's going to carry quite a bit of combat. So it's a Eirika percent in disguise. But trust me, Gilliam is going to do a lot of work too, especially when he's promoted and Eirika is not, which is the most time-consuming maps, actually, the mid-game. But right now we're still in the early game, and we're still trying to get through as fast as possible. Early game has a lot of enemy axe users, so Gilliam can't really do a whole lot. I think he can, like, 2-shot most brigands, but the accuracy is bad. He doesn't double. Eirika's is much faster at it. I save Ross with Vanessa. You're allowed to rescue NPCs using undrafted units. You're also allowed to visit villages, as Mulder does here. I didn't really project a team that I would have for this. I just assumed I only drafted Gilliam, and that's it. I got no one else. I'm just assuming I had like the worst units possible. And if it turns out I get, I don't know, Garcia. Well, I wouldn't get Garcia probably, but I'm assuming I would get maybe Mulder. Then I would still do roughly the same things here, just to have an easy plan that I can execute every time. Buy an Iron Sword here, foolishly forgetting I already traded an Iron Sword to her with Franz, but whatever. We can use this one on Seth, I guess, in case he needs to step in for an emergency. I think I plan to have Seth kill the Brigands from the left, so that Eirika can just focus on the bottom part. But yeah, I rescued Ross out Partially so he doesn't waste time dying, and partially so that I get the hatchet. Because if he dies, I don't get that. And the hatchet is very important for Gilliam because it's the most accurate 2-range weapon in the game. And Gilliam has enough strength to make it work. So it's more important that Gilliam actually hits his hits than that they're as strong as possible. Most of the time, anyway. And 50 uses is going to last me a long time. And yeah, Garcia hopefully finishes off that Brigand in the top right. Seth does the Brigands that come in from the mountains, and Eirika's going to do the rest of them. Hopefully get some boss kill experience. Normally, if you are playing a draft race in FE8, you might have seen something like Seth picks up Gilliam and runs around with half his speed and set up kills for Eirika or Ross or Franz. Excuse me. Sets up kills for Franz in order to train him faster. But in this case, I thought, you know, Eirika's good enough to round most Brigands anyway by herself, and she'll get the chip XP that way. And then Seth gets to do something else. So yeah, it turns out Garcia is not going exactly according to plan. He kept missing that Brigands, and then if you miss like the first couple turns, then it gets worse and worse because he goes into force, and there you go. He goes for a Brigand that I'm trying to kill for myself. So I'm like, alright, Seth is going to have to step in here. I don't want to expose Eirika to a game over, so I just let Garcia foolishly go to work here, and he freaking almost dies. And there you go, he dies. Good job, Garcia. You're so good. I don't know if Ross joins if Garcia's dead. I don't think he auto-joins with Garcia, so I have Eirika recruit him. Which means I have to do some scuff strats this early. I mean, it's a SOYO draft. I expect things to go wrong, but not in a portion where nothing has changed from my usual plans. So, okay. Sorry, Ross, we just got your dad killed. But, I promise it wasn't personal. But I still think it's worth slowing up down a bit here. It's worth to slow down a little bit here to get some experience on Eirika. Generally, the rule of thumb for draft races, especially when using like slightly suboptimal units, is if you're going to either take time training a unit or take time later, our unit being not good enough, it's better to just take the penalty early and reap the benefits of a good level up. And for Eirika, those level ups have been great. Like, the more chances you have to level up, the more chances you have to increase your strength, speed, defense, etc. And Eirika takes that very seriously because she just did almost all that. No defense, but she got strength and speed, and that's really good. I think that puts her on points to 1-round Brigands now if she wants to. Might have to use the Rapier sometimes. Alright, get a couple Javelins. Chapter 3, still not great for Gilliam. Still a lot of Axe users, so I think I get like 1 or 2 kills with him in this one. Fortunately, the chapters where Gilliam is bad overlap almost exactly with the chapters where Seth is allowed. So we can use him to like break down walls and like weaken enemies or kill enemies or keep people safe. So that's fine. There's a chest key in this chapter that I want to get. It's on the Brigands near the bottom chest, and there's a couple ways you can get it. You can 2-range them through the wall with like Seth, or if you're training Ross, you can have Ross like hatchet him like 5 times to get him. You can just open the door with your door key or with Colm if you have Colm drafted, and then just kill him at 1 range and get the XP from him. There's like a lot of different ways, but you kind of want it because you don't get that many chest keys in this game early on. You can buy them after the route split begins. Depending on which route you go, it's like chapter 9 or 10, I believe. But in this case, I don't really have Colm. Like, I'm assuming I don't have Colm. He is likely getting drafted in the SOYO draft. There's just not enough units to deny every team Colm. The way the draft is going to work is one team picks for the second team, and then the second team picks for the third team, and the third team picks for the first team again. 3 teams total. And what we can do is put both thieves on one team if we want to like make sure Vernak and Colm don't end up spread over our opponent's teams. That is something we can do. But Colm was like nice because he can do the injuring. I didn't draft him, and so I decided to just pick him up with Vanessa. I'm sure that you can also just recruit him with name if you want to. There's like a neat thing you can do where you pick up Colm with Vanessa or Franz and then drop him near the bottom Brigand, and he'll open a door for you as an NPC, which is allowed. You're allowed to manipulate NPCs no matter whether you have them drafted or not. Undrafted NPCs and enemies can do anything you want, obviously, because you don't have any control over them. I mean, you have limited control over them, but you can't control what they do, right? But yeah, I got 1 thief kill with Gilliam, and I decided that's all I need to do. I am still maximizing my Eirika experience. Cool thing about Seth is that if he has no strength level ups, then with an Iron Sword, he almost exactly sets up this boss for Eirika. I think he leaves in like either with 1 or 3 HP. So I plans to do that, but I was like, well, I really want this chest key, so I'm gonna have Seth just go there. And because Eirika is so blessed I can set her up to this mercenary, probably one round him, and then just 2 round the boss. Or I can have Seth do it. I forgot which I decided to do, but since I moved Seth in that direction, I probably plan to have Seth do it. I'm probably not going to have like in-depth commentary on every single map because, especially early game, I've already done a lot of explanations on in draft race practice streams. And later on, it's going to be a lot more route enemies, and I'll probably just end up speeding it or skipping up, or speeding it up or skipping it. Because I can only say, well, Eirika one-rounds the enemy here, interestingly, so many times. That's why this video is likely not going to be 3 hours long. Ancient Horrors Chapter 4 is the best chapter to train up someone who hasn't been trained a whole lot. So this is when I want to start using Gilliam a whole lot, so I did my preparations with that in mind. I do still deploy Seth as like an anti-emergency, you know, plan. Give Eirika a Steel Sword so she can one-round if she needs to. I think she already one-rounds the Garm Sword anyway. Give Gilliam the Pure Water in case he wants to fight some eyeballs. I think I ended up deciding against it because he doesn't double them and Seth's just way faster at fighting them. But yeah, the Gilliam is not very good. He, as I said, doesn't have a whole lot of speed. I believe at this point he has 3 speed, and so he cannot double 0 ES relevancy is the bar trade problem. So I'm going to have Eirika start out, I think, but have Gilliam bait a couple guys over and then like switcheroo Eirika and Gilliam, so that they both end up fighting what they want to fight. But I want to feed Gilliam the biggest portion of the monsters, which means basically the entire right side of the map, or the bottom right side of the map. I'll probably leave the eyeballs to someone else. Little moguls guys, the dark magic dudes. You can probably 2-round them, but I just don't see why I would spend 2 combats. Like, that's the most time you're going to lose in a route map, is not one-running enemies, so might as well minimize that. So yeah, I kill one with Seth that decided to move off his own accord. And I guess I'll fight the other one with Gilliam. I think I shouldn't have used this Pure Water here. This eyeball is going to get to attack me exactly once, so this Pure Water gets me less value than a Vulnerary, but Pure Waters are a lot more rare. You get 6 uses in the entirety of the early game before you get to buy them, and one of them is from Chapter 7. So I just spent a Pure Water for no reason. Not that they're like rare after that. Oh, Gilliam does one of these. I forgot that he got a speed level already. Oh, what's his speed at right now? It's 4. Well, alright, good shit, Gilliam. You can fight 0 ES enemies, which I think these Renavants are 0 to 1 speed. They might be on hard mode. He definitely one-rounds these ones. The Bone Walkers are a little faster. He doesn't one-round those, but he can 2-round them. Like, for all his flaws, Gilliam doesn't have a lot of chances to die. His defense is pretty good at 11. He's no Oswin, of course, but normal mode enemies in Sacred Stones are going to do 0 damage to him a lot, so he doesn't spend a lot of time falling. He can usually just like press on, move forward until the enemies are all dead. Especially if he gets some defense levels. I do find the 11 defense is like quite disappointing on a hard mode, where he actually does end up taking a fair bit of damage over the course of a map, to the point where you're wondering if you're really dealing with an Armor Knight here. I guess I'm getting a little more value out of the Pure Water, but since none of the other enemies are damaging me, I really don't think I should have used that thing. Yeah, this map is pretty much just Gilliam continues to one-round things. The only reason I want to like keep showing this and not fast forward is because the level ups he gets are quite funny from my memory, and the early level ups matter a lot, so I'll let this play out for now. There are plenty of route maps to speed up later that we can do to cut down video time. We don't want to get too much watch time on our videos now, do we? But yeah, just keep Gilliam moving south. Once you cross the bridge, you trigger a bunch of these monster reinforcements. That's why I sent Eirika to the top left. The forests are preventing the enemies from attacking Artur, who is considered undrafted. And there's one monster that doesn't have the correct AI. He either moves or attacks, but he doesn't do both, so he just sits there doing nothing. I think that's the guy with the slightly stronger claw attack that still doesn't do enough damage to really threaten you. But look at this Eirika. 10 strength, 13 speed. That's like insane. She's like got Raven level stats right now. Maybe normal mode Raven, but still insanely good, insanely good. Try to put Gilliam there so he baits the boss, and then I'll move him further left to keep the boss with me. I'm sure he doesn't one-round the boss, but he might 2-round him. And there you go, second point of speed. He has like no strength and no defense right now, but he has 2 points of speed. And honestly, I'll take that. I think that's much better than the alternative, the reverse. So yeah, we'll move left and kill this last guy with Eirika. And hopefully get another juicy level up from the boss. I think he gives 100 XP almost regardless of who kills him. He might not give 100 to Seth, but I think in normal mode he does give 100 to Seth. Normal mode experience goes crazy in Sacred Stones. So yeah, Get out of here, Mr. Boss. 61 experience. Yep, that's a full level for him. Of course, we want to get Gilliam to a minimum of level 10 so he can promote after we get the Night Crest from the Chapter 7 boss. But if we can get more than that, that's even better, because once he promotes, he's not going to get a whole lot of experience per enemy. He's still going to get like 10 or 20, depending on what it is, which is a decent rate. Like, I think he makes it to about like level 10 before the desert even starts or something, which is quite crazy. And I gave him Vanessa Slim Lance, so he has more accuracy. I figured if he has the strength to 2-shot anyway, why not give him a Slim Lance, get some 2-hit KOs. There you go, 6 speed. Fastest Gilliam on Earth. He has to, because it's a speed run, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But yeah, we're going into Chapter 5. This is a chapter where having 2 units then is a lot better than 1, I find. Because Eirika and Gilliam are good in their own ways, but they also both have their flaws. I need to not forget to undeploy Seth. Gilliam is better against, well, I guess Eirika is better against most enemies that have 1 range, but Gilliam has 1 to 2 range, so he can counter archers, which is better. I think Eirika one-ons everything on this map at this point, but I guess she has a little more durability issues if she faces like 15 enemies, so Gilliam is better at fighting like a really large crowd. I need to buy more javelins. I need to not forget to do that, because I only have 2 apparently. I thought I bought more. Maybe they're on someone else, but I should have enough for this chapter. But yeah, if Eirika go towards where the brigands spawn, I make a little mistake here removing Natasha down. I was like, oh, I'll just have her go get the village, forgetting that recruiting Joshua is a bottleneck. I figured I would want to recruit Joshua, A, to not deal with his killing edge, and B, so I can have the killing edge and make enemies deal with it. And you'd think Gilliam has the defense to deal with Joshua. Maybe he does sometimes, but mine is 11. I'm pretty sure Joshua has like 15 attack or something, forgetting whether that's with or without triangle. So if he doubles me and like he double crits me and then the fighters hit me, that could be quite bad. So I don't want to just put Gilliam in range of all these enemies. So he sneaks up the side here. Most of these early game strategies are just things I've ripped off of Don, by the way. With like, the run is mostly improvised. I'm not looking at notes or anything. I'm just like going. I expect that's how the draft race will go to. Is like this Screw taking massive amounts of notes. Just improvise, because that's usually going to be faster than like pre-cooked strategies for these silly units. But yeah, Slim Lance Gilliam is going through. I decided to not use the javelin to say, okay, there's an archer there, but there's way more 1-range enemies than 2-range enemies, so let's leave the archer alone for now and just focus on routing the 1-range enemies as fast as possible. And if I use the javelin, I want to miss like most of these fighters. So I was like, okay, I'll just hit the archers with 1 range on player phase. Again, the benefit of not taking damage on player phase or enemy phase with Gilliam is that he can just spend his turn attacking the enemies he doesn't counter, which is great. So he kills the 1 archer that went shopping for some reason. Eirika's finished with the bandits down south, so she can come up now. Maybe take care of that 1 fighter that is still near Joshua. We got to clear the area almost completely so that Natasha can pull through. Joshua doesn't attack Natasha, we just put her in range and we'll be done with that. We're allowed to have Natasha see like 1 round of combat, but I would like her to survive. If for no other reason than because she has a... Actually, I don't know why I would need to survive. I guess she has an item on her. The Draco shield she got from the village that I would like to keep. I think next turn I have like an opportunity to put it in convoy, but I forget. I was like, it was on my mind and then it just slipped out, so I didn't. Like I could have moved Eirika first and had Natasha go next to her, convoy the Draco shield. Forget about it. Natasha does survive 1 hit, and undrafted units are allowed to see 1 round of combat, or rather, they're allowed to see combat as long as they don't counterattack. And for Natasha, that means she's allowed to see 1 round of combat because otherwise she dies. But if she does die, that's like not the end of the world. It's not like we drafted her or anything. It's possible we'll have her drafted too. Like Natasha is again one of the worst units for draft racing. Of course, healers can't do a whole lot when you can just bunga through a map like this. Like if even Eirika is able to survive most enemies, then what do you need a healer for? Healing animations take time. It's fast to just move and vuln. And generally healers just end up being big liabilities. But yeah, a better unit would have cleared the Joshua area by now. A better player would have moved Natasha closer to Joshua. But this works out still. I can have Eirika hide behind Natasha so that she doesn't get attacked by Joshua. And they're both out of range of the brigands. And as I might as well use this Draco shield now. There are other candidates for this Draco shield later on, funnily enough, that I don't have yet. So I could also have warded it, but I figured Eirika's going to do a lot of work in the mid game, and if Eirika's ever in danger, I want her to have that Draco shield to have higher chance of surviving. If that saves me like a 5 to 10 minute reset, I'd much rather have that. But yeah, there you go. She makes it through. I do gotta evacuate Joshua from this area because if he somehow does get attacked, I would get a, what's it, like a 5-minute penalty, 10-minute penalty, depending on what the rules are. You're not allowed to have undrafted units counterattack. But yeah, he goes for Natasha because she's unequipped and she's failer than Joshua. I honestly could have left him here. There's no way he would ever attack Joshua over Natasha. And I make use of him to visit a village because, again, undrafted units are allowed to visit villages. As long as they're force deployed. You're not allowed to deploy an undrafted unit. That's, like, absolutely banned. It used to be that the rules were, like, you have to take, like, a 10-minute penalty. We're considering doing it, like, making it, like, a 30-minute penalty instead. Because if your units are, like, Gilliam level, then it might be worth to take a 50-minute penalty just to speed up, say, the desert chapter. Just throw out that faster. Like, Walter and Kalak and that whole middle section could be greatly aided by just deploying a... I don't know who... I guess you would deploy Seth to help with that. That would probably be the main thing. But Seth has always carried special penalties. Special time penalties. But yeah, I guess I'll take some time while we finish up this chapter and just get villages and beat experience to my units. Talk about the relay and the SOYO aspect a little bit. So, the relay thing, each team will divide the game amongst themselves and will be allowed to baton pass between each other. And I think the way teams are going to do it mostly is just divide the game into early, mid, and late game. So, for example, for my team, I believe that Klaire will be doing the early game and Pyrope will be doing the mid game. Depending on what route we go, they might switch it up, but that's the plan right now. And I've been assigned to the late game, I suppose. And we just, the moment that you want to like switch it up, you just pause the game, pause the timer, and you are allowed to then hand your save over to the next person, and they will continue from there. So we have to set each other up for success, basically. We'll probably all be in the call together, like plotting during enemy phases to make sure that we do the right things. Don't forget the most important items, like forgetting to visit the village here could be very annoying. You might be short 5k because you didn't get the guiding ring or whatever. Those things matter a lot. So just kind of coaching each other. It will probably be a bit chaotic, be on call with a lot of people. There's going to be I think there's going to be an official commentator stream where a commentator will have like all perspectives. We'll link that when it happens. It will definitely be linked on the race description, as long as I don't forget, but I shouldn't. We're in 5x now. We're going to train Ephraim because he's also a free unit, but better than Eirika. Most of the time anyway. Eirika is quite blessed. We'll see if Ephraim can keep up. But we can use Orson as well to speed things up. So usually you try to kill things that Ephraim is bad against with Orson. That's mostly fighters. You can just Silver Sword Oko them. But soldiers, I try to leave to Ephraim. I think because we're going Eirika route, there's a lot of room for optimization here. I'm just using the strats as if I'm going Ephraim routes. But I believe they get auto levels to the point where there's like a level cap for how useful it is for Ephraim. There's like, he gets like plus X amount of levels and no levels beyond level Y. And I think Y is 15. And I think it's 8 auto levels. So theoretically, there would be no reason to level him beyond like 7 or 8 if we're going Eirika route. Of course, Ephraim still one-rounds almost everything on normal mode, but waiting for him with Orson is quite time-consuming. So I probably could have done more with Orson here. I'll have to ask my squad about that, because they might know. I usually spend most of my time practicing Ephraim route, so this is the first time in a while that I played Eirika route. I did like one fun race with a group of Patrons one day, where we ran through Sacred Stones, but because I have more experience than them, the plan was that I would only use units below C tier or something in the tier list, and they would be allowed to use anyone. And that was quite fun. I used Garcia to go through most of Eirika routes. I think I ended up not finishing because it was getting quite late. And we ended up pausing for another day, and that day to continue still has to come. But yeah, one day we should definitely do that. What I think I'm going to do, because this is quite straightforward, is start to speed up the footage a little bit, so we can go a little bit faster. I think 2 times should be fine, most of the time. Because you know how Ephraim works. He kills enemies, and he does it quite fast. In fact, I've seen this chapter so many times, and I think a lot of you people have too, so I'm going to skip a little bit ahead to where we get to the throne room. Okay, here we are. So Ephraim is wrapping up the last few enemies, and now all I have to do is make sure that I bring the right inventory to the next chapter. Ephraim does not have the opportunity to trade with Eirika or anything, so the inventory we give him here kind of affects how he does in the desert when he comes back. But I don't have many options. I just like decide to leave both Steel Lances with Orson. And just make sure he has a javelin for chapter 8, and that's kind of all I can do. And here's the armory for chapter 6. I buy a couple steel lances to make sure that I can one round. Forgetting that Gilliam can probably one rounds with the iron axe once he promotes. But I guess I didn't know that for sure at the time. There's some give alls. I'm sure this perhaps is still followable at 2x speed. And now this looks like I'm playing faster, you know, it just makes me look like a pro. I give the secret book to Gilliam because he has way more accuracy issues than Eirika does, and I might as well do it now. And yeah, I think in this chapter it would have been much faster to just have Eirika do everything on her own, especially the bless that one that I have. Imagine if Eirika was like in range instead of Gilliam here, or imagine if Gilliam was not in range, but Eirika would go in range next turn. She would just route all these guys with the rapier, no questions asked, but because I have to train Gilliam, I have to slow down a little bit. It would be faster to play this chapter with a Gilliam that was undeployed, I'm sure, but, you know, we gotta train him. There's only a couple chapters left, and Gilliam doesn't get to do a whole lot in chapter 7, and after chapter 7 is when we get the promotion item. So here I take out the steel lance, and it's like, okay, I can maybe Oko the troubadour with this, and I can, so that's nice. Hit the low accuracy hit there, and now we can just steam on through. Funnily enough, the enemies still go for Eirika, even though the defenses are really not that far apart anymore, thanks to that Draco Shield. But it does set up kills for Gilliam occasionally. This is a good chapter where... it's like a good example of a chapter where Gilliam just cannot keep up with Eirika's higher movement and ability to kill enemies. I am intentionally slowing her down a little bit because I know there's a bunch of 2-range enemies that that A, she doesn't counter, and B, I could feed to Gilliam instead. So if I move Eirika full move here, Gilliam would not be able to get these kills like this. And worked out quite nicely, but I think I could have moved quite a bit faster with Eirika here. This move specifically where she fights like a bunch of enemies that I think we could have just skirted out of range of would have been quite nice. And because Eirika ends up level capping like quite early, I think that would have been the much better play. I guess we get the Iron Blade out of it, but it really isn't going to be that useful. I think she would have gotten all her thresholds with the Steel Sword here. But yeah, here Gilliam can get some free kills at least, so that's nice. I guess some soldiers. I have no idea how that soldier came from the back. I don't remember there being a soldier in the upper left. Use the second Pure Water here. This one I think I do approve of, because I think there might be another mage here that she ends up fighting, and I don't want to have to fall in face of Novala, I just want to attack him. And yeah, it turns out he went from like from 11 damage to 4, so I guess that was good. But since it was one running, I probably could have done without it. Now I only have one Pure Water used left, but I do get another one in this chapter, I just don't get to use it right away. Okay, so Eirika's Lord class can cross the river, she just has to walk one tile at a time. And Gilliam cannot, so he's just kind of stuck at the beginning without Vanessa's help. But I'll just feed him a couple kills here, maybe get the Pure Water from the upper left. And that's kind of all we can do in this chapter. I could walk him around the long way and get more experience, but I think he's already level 14 or 15 somehow. We'll get to see soon enough, I guess. While Eirika walks up here. Colm can do the same thing Eirika did the first 2 turns and end up able to steal the energy ring from the mage, which is quite good. I would definitely recommend that if you ever want this energy ring in an easy way. Don't want to just try not killing the guy, just bait him, steal him, and be done with it. Ow. Eirika baits the mage. A totally intentional bait. Gilliam's gonna have to fight 2 mages at a time, looks like. Yeah, he's level 15 now, that's quite good. So Eirika is just gonna walk up to the boss, rapier him in the face, just have to circumvent a couple of archers. Gonna stay out of range of the mercenaries to save some combat time. And just slowly walk our way up here. Try to stay out of blessed range, I guess, to save some combat animations. But yeah, 19 speed, 13 strength Eirika. That's so blessed. And the funny thing about Eirika Route is, it's kind of slow, but it does have multiple energy rings. We have the one from the mage here that we missed, and there's 2 more that we can get as well. Gilliam kind of dicey. I forgot that the Steel Lance is not guaranteed to one-route mages. I forgot, I mean, I didn't think it wouldn't after he already won on the one before. But fortunately, Eirika's in siege range, so we don't have to take any risks with Gilliam. We can just seize and get it over with. And that means it is now time for Gilliam's promotion. And it's usually letting promotion is actually quite good in draft races sometimes to get more levels. But in this case, the 2 move is so crucial that I think there's no question that you always promote Gilliam here if you can. It's just so worth it. 2 move and access to axes as well. Being able to use swords doesn't really matter a whole lot, but being able to use hand axes in addition to javelins and being able to build X rank are just so important, I think. You can, of course, just do S rank lances, have higher accuracy on your javelins, and be fine with that. Eirika Route does have a lot of enemy mercenaries, so I think that's viable. But I decided to try and build as much axe rank as I possibly could in order to obtain garm. I'm going to speed these up again. I think getting garm is nice because A, you get it, I think 1 or 2 chapters earlier than Vidofnir. You get garm at the end of 15, while you get Vidofnir at the end of 17. A lot of time where you get no S-rank weapon if you're focusing on lances. You only S-rank 1 weapon, of course. And B, there's one boss later on where I think our best plan is to just hatchet him over and over, Carlisle. And at range, because that doesn't have weapon trial disadvantage, even though he's a sword master, because he's using a wind sword. And for that, I would rather have S-rank axes than lances. And the hatchet is more accurate than a javelin, of course. So yeah, I think it is better that we just raise our axe rank as soon as possible. And we have to like kind of avoid using lances if we can, because Gilliam is already at A-rank lances from all the combat he's done before, and when he didn't have an option to use axes. So I'm going to try my darndest to always equip an axe when I can, and sometimes it's going to cost me a little bit of time. In this chapter though, axe is quite good. Like almost every enemy uses a lance, or is a ranged attacker like a mage or an archer. Ephraim does what at this point is a pretty standard maneuver. He equips a javelin to kill an archer and a soldier right away. And then next turn, he's going to go up and kill a couple more guys. Again, we don't really need this experience if we're going Eirika Route, I think. Because he's going to auto-level regardless. I'll have to look into exactly how much auto-leveling we're getting. But yeah, Gilliam is just going to route this throne room real quick so Eirika can use the convoys to get a chest key to get that angelic robe. Very important that we don't skip this. Gilliam is obviously not going to need it, and a blessed Eirika might not need it, but there are reasons to give it to other free characters later. It would not be bad on Ephraim, but Ephraim doesn't have access to it for when he really needs it. There's no way to make contact between Eirika and Ephraim now. They're so far apart. And I wouldn't hate having 7 extra HP on Ephraim during the desert chapter when he's on his own with 2 units that I'm not allowed to use. Well, no, I might be allowed to use, but I don't know if I'm allowed to use them during the draft race, so I'm going to pretend that I can't. And then do it anyway. But yeah, Ephraim wants to get rid of this mage so that Ford or Kyle, no matter which, it doesn't matter which is holding which, can hide there from the cavalry reinforcements coming in. So that's why I want to use one more javelin there. So I kind of watch javelin uses in 5x kind of closely. Use an elixir to stay alive. And yeah, keep Eirika moving. There's like a reinforcement trigger that I don't remember exactly where it is, but apparently it's not here. So this gives Gilliam free time to move in here. Start killing those clowns in the throne room. And hopefully get Eirika in there before the mage reinforcements catch up to her. And that way we don't have to fight those. I can instead focus on fighting Tirado. The funny thing with Tirado is this blessed Eirika would be quite good against Tirado. But I think Gilliam is actually still better. Even though he's doing way less damage with an Iron Axe and can't use anything better. He doesn't have the rank for like Armor Slayer or a Hammer or anything like that. Not that we have a Hammer, I don't believe. Eirika would be effective with the Rapier. Like, I'm sure Eirika could nearly one-round this Tirado. But the problem is, I think her hit rate is much worse due to Weapon Triangle disadvantage instead of Gilliam's advantage. And also her level is way higher because she's unpromoted. She's like level 18 at this point, I think. Whereas Gilliam is level 1, maybe level 2 promoted. So, Great Shield, I think that's what it's called in this game. Pavis, basically negate your damage. It's enemy level percent. And Gilliam's level is way lower, so I think he effectively has way better hit rates than Eirika. And he appreciates the chippy XP in the axe rank too, of course. Next turn, I think I make a pretty dumb mistake. I should have moved Gilliam to the pillar next to Tirado. Get Wreckmaster Thief. I think I wasted some rapier uses here. It's okay though. Yeah, we're level 18, so Tirado would have an 80% chance if we already hit him. So yeah, I should have just... If I moved Gilliam to this pillar right now, like before moving Eirika, I could have attacked with Eirika here, but... Honestly, kind of happy I didn't. Eirika would also probably still get 2-shot by the Silk Lance, I think. And would have to use elixir users to heal up in order to stand in front of him safely. So I think this is way better. Already had D-rank axes. Very nice. Starts with E-rank, but steel axes are E-rank, so there's not much of a reason to need D-rank. Let me make a save state for Chapter 9, Route Split. Okay, we're on Eirika Route. Chapter 9, Distant Blade. Chapter 9 is long for both Eirika and Ephraim. They are effectively route maps when you think about it. Eirika's is a route map, and Ephraim's is that long, winding castle with Geb and Tana and Amelia in it. And you have to kill most of the enemies in order to get through the fastest way. So they're both really long chapters. So I'm just going to like do a bit of comparison between Eirika and Ephraim route here. And yeah, routing is going to take a long time. But this chapter is an interesting route because it has so many objectives that you want to look after. If you get Amelia in the draft, then we are allowed to deploy Franz here because you're allowed to deploy undrafted units if they recruit one of your drafted units. But only if they do it through a talk command. That's the exact way the rule is phrased. So we've been allowed to deploy Franz and do everything with him that an undrafted unit can do, which includes, wow, my voice. Which includes visiting villages, so he'd be able to run down to one of the villages and get it if we want to. Of course, you have to be careful not to get into combat, because it would waste time or even give a penalty if he has a weapon. So I'll just have Gilliam run left, and my plan was to have undrafted Tana get the bottom village and maybe drop Eirika off on the other side. I think I realized that doing that was a bit of a mistake because Eirika doesn't counter like any of the enemies that are around the village. And it would be much better to just have Eirika run to where Gilliam is and follow him, help out here. Here I'm like, okay, so I want to build axe rank, but there's a bunch of mercs here, and if I use a hand axe, I'm never going to hit them, so I decided to use a hatchet here. I do need to conserve hatchet uses because Carlisle is going to take quite a few, I'm expecting, so I maybe shouldn't have done that, but at least now I get to counter the sniper. So that's nice. But I could really just use the javelin here, I think. I don't know how close I was to S-ranking lances, but I really want to avoid it. And it turns out I just won out the sniper somehow. I wasn't quite expecting that. But yeah, here I'm like, why am I dropping Eirika again? Why am I doing this? Well, I committed to it, so might as well do it. And it was a bad idea. So we hatchet the pirate that is non-aggressive. Apparently, this guy will always go for the village unless he can kill someone. So undrafted Tana could get herself hurt by another enemy and then die to this pirate. And that would be quite good. Of course, we'd have to put her in range of like a mercenary or something, or get her hurt by something else, like an archer maybe? I don't have a plan on how to do that. But that's one way to save the village from this pirate. But Gilliam is quite capable of just keeping up with him. If we have Garcia, this might be different because Garcia would not be able to get rid of the mercenaries as quickly. And Garcia also only has 5 move, because at this point you don't have a hero quest yet, so you have no way to promote him. So I don't know if Garcia can replicate this necessarily. It looks like Gilliam's 6 move was actually quite crucial in getting there. I'm sure there's a set of moves that allows Garcia to move through even though he's not killing the mercenaries. But it would be a bit annoying for him because he's also faced that killing edge mercenary. Or Myrmidon, excuse me. Amelia comes in here. I think we're on turn like 4 and she leaves on turn 12, so quite a bit of time to get her. It probably would have been smart actually to just drop Eirika near the soldiers and kill them. With my blessed defenses, I can definitely survive. And then just recruit Amelia and have the speed wing earlier. What I ended up doing is waiting to make Amelia leave, which is a different move and a choice for sure, but not one that I think I should have made. Because like, what is Eirika doing right now that is like so important? Nothing, right? And like Gilliam even wants to stay up there anyway to fight these enemies. He's using the hand axe against a bunch of mercenaries. He's gonna miss a bunch, which just might be. But I was like, I don't want to use any more hatchet users. But yeah, at this point, Gilliam is basically invincible and doubling most enemies that are not mercenaries. I think sometimes he misses fighters when when they're not being weighed down, but that's about it. But yeah, I could have simply just dropped Eirika there and moved down. I guess I didn't want to move Eirika in range of these ranged enemies that are arriving now, but I think if I moved Tana towards where I wanted Eirika to be every turn, I could have definitely made it work. And I decided not to. You could make an argument that if you're playing SOYO, then it's worth getting Amelia to Cavalier. There were a couple of times during the route that you'll see that having an extra unit that's allowed to see combat and actually attack things, even if they're kind of bad at it, would still be good. Think of like chapter 15, the desert, where I know it's a Cavalier, but there are so many enemies in that chapter, and just having like one more unit there to pick off enemies or do like a little rescue drop or trade would have been helpful. I don't necessarily know exactly where all those spots would be, I just know that I had that feeling when I was playing this route. But yeah, this is a really long route chapter from here. Not a whole lot happens, so I'm gonna skip to the next chapter. But I'm gonna wait out Amelia just so I don't have to kill her because I feel bad for her. So Amelia will be fine, trust me. Okay, we're back here, just grinding down Binks a little bit with our Gilliam. I think there's like a chance he can kill me if I go close quarters, so I'm just hatcheting him down slowly and patiently. But this is kind of the trend for Eirika Route. This has a lot of long range, a lot of long route maps. It doesn't have a lot of long range, but there is a lot of long range in the next chapter, chapter 10. the Garrick chapter. This is probably the most painful one for Soyos in comparison to, say, a run with Vanessa, because Vanessa would be able to just straight up fly over that mountain that Pablo is hiding on and make the chapter a lot shorter, and a lot happens in this chapter. I buy a hammer here. I didn't need to. I was like, I know I have to kill a Great Knight boss at some point, Ayas, in chapter 13. Might as well get an effective weapon for him now. But you get a halberd and a horse slayer before then, so it really wasn't necessary to pick up another thing. I don't think I used that hammer a single time. But I have it anyway. But yeah, this chapter is all the mercenaries, which is not Gilliam's favorite enemy type. And he has to move through to the south and then up because he can't fly. Eirika's quite fine, but I don't want her in range of these mages, so I'm like trying to position Gilliam in a way where he will take out the mercs on enemy phase, and the mages most importantly, while Eirika sits in a place that's 5 move away from a starting position, but still in range. Now, something unfortunate happens here. The mercenaries are exactly being knocked into healing range, so they try to go for the closest forts, and the closest fort is the one on the bottom left of the big forts that Garrick and friends are hiding in. You can also see there's a couple forts inside there, but they can't see that because I think Garrick is in the way, and Tethys as well. So I think they're moving towards the bottom left fort. And that's annoying because, well, it gets them out of my way, I guess, which is good. Like, it saves me some combat. But you'll see later why it becomes a huge problem. I won't spoil it for you, even though I tried my best to. Here I slowed down a little bit to get the killer axe. I don't think I used that thing ever outside of this chapter, so I could have just sped up this chapter by a turn, probably, by just moving Gilliam full move instead. But if you move him in range of the fighter and use... well, I could have used... What I should have done, probably, is use a one-range weapon so that he uses the hand axes and Eirika kills him. But instead, I do this, which gets Gilliam stuck behind a couple of enemies, so now Eirika has to, like, move out of her way to kill an enemy, and then Gilliam can move again. And then next turn, we have to open the door and get through. I think we slowed this down by at least a turn, maybe even 2 turns here. But yeah, Garrick and Innes do their usual thing. They move out of the fort and kill 2 of the 3 soldiers that approach them. It's kind of silly that NPC Tethys is a thing, and she just sits there, open for the attack by a 3rd soldier. Like, canonically, like, this is what the chapter is going to look like 99% of the time. Most people are not going to be able to get, like, a Vanessa down here as fast. Like, I'm talking like casual play. But here's something weird happens. The mercenaries go for that area instead of to the fort. Like, the healing guy is strange in the GBA games sometimes. They just go to a fort but not quite on it. And so Innes's and Garrick's positions end up quite different from what I believe were the developer intentions, where they move down further, threaten the archer on the ballista. So now instead, that archer is going to be having free reign to just do ballista shots at our favorite dancer. Here I'm like, okay, I'm going to use the killer axe to kill the Lance Reaver mercenary as easily as possible. And I don't remember which enemy that was, but it doesn't matter because it just misses every hit anyway. What I should probably have done is use a hand axe that would force the archer to stay in a ballista instead of attacking me at 2 range. It would also probably let me counter the non-Lance Reaver Merc / Myrmidons, but I didn't, and now I'm stuck between like 3 enemies with Eirika nowhere near. And you can see the ballista exactly 2 shots to Tethys. It is 9 out of her 18 HP. Very unfortunate because it means she won't heal herself, but she's also not gonna like move out of danger. Like, she doesn't even get on the fort. And Garrick and Innes moved in a dumb way too, so now we're just completely trashed here. And yeah, I missed the Reaver Merc, and I'm stuck behind a bunch of enemies. So I just moved Eirika closer, thinking, okay, the enemies will probably go for Eirika because she's more frail. The archers will move in a way that they're out of Gilliam's way, and Gilliam can just like start engaging the boss Pablo here. And that works out. That works out quite well. We get the Lance Reaver. I don't think I ever used this. I don't think it was needed to get it. So I just wanted to kill that guy and get him out of the way. I don't think that item is particularly important here. I think if you had a worse Eirika, it would be good to have one, because there's a chance you have to fight like Pegasus Knights with her at some points. Specifically, I'm thinking of like the desert. Stupidly, Garrick doesn't move. I think he couldn't reach anything because Innes was in the way, and he moves before Innes, but now he's just like stuck behind Tethys. Like, this is the exact opposite of the formation you want. Sniper in the front, Dancer in the middle, Merc in the back. I don't know what they think they're doing. I think Pablo can kill Gilliam. This is probably when I should have gotten a Pure Water out of Eirika's convoy and used it. I know I have the one from Chapter 7, and I think I have one used left of the one from Chapter 2. Tethys misses a shot, but every turn she's facing, like, I want to say like a 30-20% chance of death. Even more now that the hand axe guy is in the way, right in front of Innes too. Like, quite disastrous. And they do absolutely nothing about it. They just sit there not fixing their stupid formation. So, you know that house that says like, oh, Innes is like a tactical genius, he's so good. Well, he's not. Fuck you, Innes. You suck. And you too, Garrick. I hate you all. If they all survive, you all get them for free, but I think if Innes dies, you get none of them. Which, for Garcia teams would be quite unfortunate, actually. Because this is like your first hero crest. I guess you could move Eirika or Tana towards them. But, yeah, rip Tethys. Rip Tethys. And goodbye, Pablo. We don't get a dancer. We don't have a dancer. I think this is a big deal, especially for planned playthroughs. But I think for the SOYO, as much as it sucks, it might be okay. Because you're going to take longer in a lot of chapters anyway, and managing a dancer while improvising is a lot harder than doing it in like a planned Klaire strat. So I just kept playing. I decided, if I restart, I'm not guaranteed to save Tethys, because the same thing might happen. I might be able to like finagle the mercs to the point where they don't do the stupid thing that they ended up doing. But it's not guaranteed that Tethys will just keep dodging ballista shots, so she might just die. And like, how long did the chapter take? Like 9 minutes? And she probably died around 8 minutes in, so do I really want to take 9 more minutes to maybe save some time? Like, how much time can Tethys realistically save? Maybe it's 9 minutes, but I'm not guaranteed, so I decided to play on and see how bad it would be to play without a dancer. So, yeah, Armor Knight carry with no dancer. That's what we're doing today. So, Chapter 11, it's just a route map. I'm trying to remember if anything remarkable happens here. I think the most remarkable thing that happens here is Eirika's going to level to 20. And that's about it. I don't think anything else super important happens here. So we're going to watch Eirika level to 20, and then we're going to skip to the next chapter. Gilliam, I think, one-rounds everything he faces. The enemies that are fast enough to avoid not getting doubled are frail enough to get O-code by like a hand axe. I think that's the mouth dogs. And that's pretty much it. And I think he even doubles gargoyles. There's like a point in the bottom right where an enemy escapes my grasp and goes for Large Shell. So Large Shell runs away, uses a healing item, and the problem is solved. That's the most exciting thing that happened this chapter. It's a long chapter. Ephraim's variant of this is chapter 11 Ephraim. That's the Phantom ship. That one's also quite long. I forgot to do a comparison for chapter 10. Chapter 10 without a flyer is both long for Eirika and Ephraim, but I think the Ephraim one is better because you don't murder Tethys in it, whereas you get Tethys for free in 13 Ephraim. So in that sense, I think Ephraim wins out over Eirika Route, almost always. It's also safer, I guess, because you just enter in a couple times. 10 Ephraim is. The weird thing for Ephraim Route is that the Hero Crest is not even guaranteed to be able to be obtainable for him either, because you'd have to get it from the village in chapter 10, and usually an NPC Cavalier will sit on a village and just not get off of it, so... And if you're playing that chapter straight, like you're actually trying to kill the boss in chapter 10 Ephraim, then you would have to... like, you want to rush the boss, and the boss is the other side of the little island at the bottom. I think she hit level 20 already, I didn't see where the stats were, but, you know, they're quite good. I was too busy rambling. I'm very sorry. Gilliam level, let's see what he's at. 12 speed, 13 speed now. It's quite good. I think his speed is blessed, I think his strength is horribly screwed. Okay, yeah, Eirika has level capped. Well, I guess we'll see her stats at some other points. She's blessed. I think you've seen enough of her. She's blessed. Let's skip to chapter 12, which, you know, is also a monster route map. Okay, so we're in chapter 12, and Saleh is force deployed. But fortunately, he's in the preps menu, so at least I can deposit items in case he gets attacked by accident. I don't have too much to say on chapter 12 because it's just a long route map. I don't think there's any good way to save a bunch of time over just, like, running your unit around the map and killing enemies. You can like manage when you proc a reinforcement zone. My philosophy was generally if I proc it, I want to be able to kill it like next turn. So what I do is just have Gilliam slowly run around the map while Eirika stays at the starting point to take care of the initial reinforcements, and I just kind of run Saleh in between so that he doesn't get like sandwiched between reinforcements. Like I don't want him to be near the enemies when the enemies spawn. I don't want him to be near enemies, period. I have Eirika take care of the moguls up top because I figured Gilliam would not have time for that. Looking at the ranges now, I probably could have had Gilliam go into range later and not bother with this Eirika movement at all. That would have been a pretty substantial improvement by, like, seconds. Big difference maker. There's one fragment of this chapter I want to show you, though. So at this point, the chapter is mostly empty. There's only 2 enemies remaining. The Entombed and a Mildoon that I'm about to kill. I think that's how you pronounce it. Get wrecked. You do get Ewan in this chapter. You don't have to recruit him in chapter. He just joins you afterwards. I think as long as Saleh is alive, maybe even if he's dead. And normally the most remarkable thing about Ewan is that he comes with an energy ring and that's it. But I decided, as a way of experimenting, I'm going to see how many levels I can get Ewan by just fighting this one Entombed. And I forgot that he gets doubled, so he gets 50 XP per chip. And so I could hit him again, and then the next combat he would probably die, because we're doing 14 apiece. I guess we get 2 levels out of it. 1 level for chip, and another half level for chip, and then a whole level for a kill. I figured it wasn't worth it. I better just give Gilliam another level out of it. I just wanted to see, because it's not unlikely that we'll end up with Ewan, depending on the draft order. Like, the worst drafts are obviously like Ewan, Amelia, Marissa, or something. So there's a chance we'll get Ewan, and if I can squeeze some free utility out of Ewan, then I want to take that. And I think if you can get Ewan just to Shaman without losing too much time, it could be worth it for that flunky combat utility that I mentioned earlier. But it wasn't really happening. I checked Ayas's inventory because I forgot exactly what weapons he had and what he starts equipped with. I was like, do I need to bring something that's not the halberd as an effective weapon? I decided to bring Horslayer as well, in case he, like, I attack him with the halberd and he uses the silver blade or something. So I know there's a sleep staff guy, so I bring the pure water. This chapter is usually quite short. I think without Tethys, you lose at least a turn. And I just kind of improvise some moves. Amelia's there, in a militar formation. And I try to move in a way to where I don't kill her and also put myself in a good position. I don't know what the Rangers were thinking. I believe even in normal mode they have a sword and a bow. And I equipped the hand axe on Gilliam. So what they should be doing is attacking me at close range with the sword to get weapon triangle advantage while still getting countered. Like, it should be all things equal for them. They didn't. They made a different decision with their lives. And fortunately, Amelia moved in just a way where Eirika can recruit her turn 2. And we can nab the Sweetwing for Gilliam, which is quite good. But I think it would have been better if we got it earlier. I was very surprised to see Gilliam doubled Rangers. I don't know what had happened. And yeah, this sleep, I think I forgot to use the Pure Water turn 1. I'm not entirely sure, but good thing I dodged there. So you can grab Amelia and deposit the Sweetwing. If I wasn't going to kill the Sleep Priest, I would keep the Slim Lance on her maybe to bait the sleep. But she would probably invoke a penalty by counterattacking because she doesn't get O-code. But I do put her on a fort thinking, well, there's no way to save Amelia from this position, but I can at least use her as a distraction. If she dodges enough, she can join my army and survive, but it's going to require quite a bit of dodging. I just want to get Gilliam past this formation so he can fight the boss. That's all I want from here. And I wanted to kill the priest, of course. Goodbye, Amelia. I am so sorry. I really wish we could have found a better use for you. I guess this is another argument for recruiting her in Chapter 9, is that you can not have her die here. Because surely she's easier to save in Chapter 9 than she was here. But yeah, we don't double him. If we used the Speedwing, we had a pretty good shot at doubling him, I think. So I used the Horslayer and decide to unequip Eirika on a fort to make sure she doesn't die. Because like she's level 20, I don't need to get more experience on her, so why bother counterattacking? But Ayas moves first and suicides into Gilliam. And that wraps up Chapter 13 in a pretty quick fashion. So, Chapter 14, Queen of White Dunes. I think this one is really interesting. I think this might be the chapter where not having Tethys has the most obvious drawback. This is the one where you're chasing Renak through the castle on your way to Ismare. And if you had Tethys, it's pretty trivial to use either La Rochelle or Eirika to recruit Renak before he gets away from you. But in this one, as you're going to see, that is not quite the case. And you're going to get blocked by the enemies that are standing like in front of the doorway quite a bit, especially because we only have probably one viable combat unit. Another reason why I think having an extra combat unit might be helpful in this case. I don't know if losing Renak is like a huge deal if you can't get to him. He has like, he joins with like a spear and a hammer that he gets from the chest. And I don't think there's any great uses for those, but the spear is obviously just like a very helpful weapon to have. And it might not be worth, I don't know if it's worth like spending 10k gold on the spear, honestly. I'm going back here to buy some weapons because I realized I might be too low on hand axes, and it's pretty interesting with the Eirika Route. It's considered the easier route, but it does have the funny drawback where you get 2 chapters twice in a row without any overall prep. So if you didn't buy enough weapons, you're going to be stranded. Obviously, this would be planned out in a better race where we just go, okay, just spend like all your golds on like hand axes and javelins, or one of the 2, depending on which carry you use. They both should be good. Obviously, right now we have like 20k in money. I think I sold some promo items, and you get like 5k from La Rochelle's family. Thanks, La Rochelle. Very cool. But yeah, I think there is not much strategy here that we can really use to go faster through the chapter. We just have to bunker through with Gilliam and Eirika. I think I didn't have a door key at this point. That might be what I'm checking right now. And so like, well, I'm probably gonna have to kill the soldier in front of the other door to get a door key for myself. But that's okay. Like, that's the reason why the guy's there. I don't know why I'm thinking about it so much. But yeah, we gotta get a door key somehow. And ideally, like, I guess what I could do here, now that I'm looking at it, instead of just deploying Eirika and Gilliam, just like have like one more character deployed, doesn't really matter who. And they just be the one opening door, and then Gilliam can attack something, and Eirika can walk on through. Maybe we can get Renak that way. And I'm reviewing that seemed like a good use of a turn for someone. It could be literally anyone that I plan to sacrifice. I think we have a total of 5 characters plus free. So let's say you had like La Rochelle, you could have her do it, but she'd probably be the one recruiting Renak. So I guess you'd have Eirika do it in that case and have you don't want to have La Rochelle move on. I guess it depends on like what flunkies you have. Obviously Ewan is a candidate if you got him drafted. And by got him drafted I mean someone else gave him to you. Suppose Joshua could do it if he's here. It'd preferably be someone you could sacrifice, because moving them all the way through the corridor along with your other units is like kind of a time sink. But yeah, Renak starts like quite far away of you, and the way you're intended to catch up with him, besides Tethys, is like the fact that he spends a turn opening the door and opening the chest. But I'm just gonna get way too blocked here. I think the other enemies get aggro too, and they just end up in the doorway. But you can see if Eirika had like one more turn of movement, she'd just be able to recruit Renak that turn, no problem, thanks to Tethys. And that's not happening. And I do think we should always ignore the map, the portion of the map that we don't have to go through. There is some good treasure in the bottom left room. I believe there's an energy ring and a dragon spear, both of which I could definitely find several uses for. This team can't really use the energy ring very well, but if Gilliam was more strength screwed, or maybe if he was able to hit like 1 kill thresholds, it could be worth giving it to him. It might also be worth saving stat boosters like that for Myr, if it comes down to it, for reasons we'll get into later. I think there are uses for those. Am I on speed up right now? I was not. Okay, there we go. But yeah, Renak just took a chest, and he outmoves Eirika at this point. Like, if Eirika doesn't catch up to him this turn, then she's never going to get there, because Renak has 6 move to Eirika's 5. Eirika, why couldn't you promote a little earlier, girl? That would have been so nice if you did. But it's fine. It's not like we need Renak on this team. I'm going to put Gilliam here so he can preempt some archers from inside the castle. Get some cav reinforcements. I think those are like annoying for an extra unit that you just deployed to sit there. You could, if you had some like Dazla, you could sit him here and like fight the cavalry reinforcements. But I know from experience it's gonna be like quite a long process. I don't recall if Renak drops anything. If you wanted to get anything from the secret shop, I think you have to kill Renak, and you could probably do that over 2 turns using Garcia or Gilliam with like range attacks. Garcia might have to like use a bow just to hit him, because the hand axe wouldn't be that accurate. This is a big mistake what I did here. I put Gilliam in range of a Berserk Priest. Totally didn't need to. I was like, well, I'll just kill this guy that's right there. And yeah, could have gotten punished here, but didn't, fortunately. So I was like, I might as well kill him before he messes up my plans any further. I think that Priest has such limited range and hit rate that he half the time just doesn't go for a hit at all. But in this case, he obviously did. And here, I'm gonna wait for these cav reinforcements. I don't know if I should have, but I figured if I want to take my time with Carlisle, because I'm gonna need like 50 million hits to get through him. So I should really just leave Eirika or Gilliam here to deal with them. And I know at least one of these reinforcements has a javelin. I think it's 2 1 range and 1 javelin. So I was like, I might as well use Gilliam to clean them up, like all of them. And I really should have advanced the other character, in this case Eirika, towards the knights at least. It's some progress there, especially since Gilliam outmoves Eirika. Not that like an extra turn where nothing happens takes a whole lot of time, but again, might as well, like a minor optimization. Ideally, I would rather have Gilliam move through and Eirika take care of this. And I guess what I could have done is leave Eirika here, because she's so durable for me. And yeah, one guy's gonna like javelin her, but the rest is gonna be forced to attack at 1 range regardless of the weapon they have. So then I could have had Gilliam go through the corridor, because as you're gonna see, that sniper is gonna move, and then the rest of these guys are gonna move. And I think at least one of the fighters has a hand axe, so either way, I'm losing some turns and some time here. But it's all relatively minor. What this is really all about is our preparation for fighting with Carlisle. So at this point, Gilliam does have a good enough axe rank to use pretty much any axe I have, including like a lance. The way Carlisle works was like, I don't want to say up for debate, because obviously he only works it one way, but like we weren't sure how the brand works exactly. unfortunate hand axe break there. I really should just have, like, use the hand axe in this turn too to kill that guy off. He's gonna be a bit of a nuisance. But Carlisle uses a wind sword, and how magic swords work is like, it's well researched, but I always forget how they work. It's 1 to range. It always hits on resistance, and it's effective on flyers no matter what range it hits at, but it's considered a sword at close range, and it's considered a animatome at long range, so at 2 range or more, I think. I'm assuming if you use a longbow, it's still considered a... what's it called? An animatome? Not that it matters, like, when you're going to longbow this guy. I guess if you had, like, the stone spell, it might matter. But obviously we don't. But yeah, hit rates on Carlisle are quite bad, no matter what you do. And I thought the best hit rate we would have on him is the hatchet. So it's like, I'll just use the hatchets, use the pure water, and then maybe Gilliam will be okay. I think we're looking at, like, 40-ish hit here. When I was, like, running the numbers, using, like, the Veil bot, and, like, just checking stats online, I thought I'd get better hit than this, but I didn't. Pausing here to make a save state so we can practice against Carlisle, like figure out his stats or whatever. I think the last detail that I need to mention about his wind sword is that at range it deals half. I think it halves your attack damage. I think I'm saying all these things correctly here. Let me skip through. I'm taking my time here. There we go. And I was like, okay, this hatchet isn't doing much, but if I use the sword reaver at close range and I get crit, I just die at this range. So I have to pure water to survive it. Sword Reaver does do a much higher amount of damage, so if you can hit with it, it's much better, but the hit rate is... the hit rate's actually better than Hatchet. It was like 58 to Hatchet's 40-something, but getting crit would have been really painful. I got lucky here by hitting him twice, but that fight can definitely stall us. The good news is that the Ephraim equivalent is Vigard, who is also very luck-based. But I think at least Ephraim against Vigard, you have a much lower chance of dying or getting wrecked, and also you don't have to deal with Berserk in this chapter. Well, you do, but you don't if you make the right moves. Okay, Scorched Sand, the next biggest time loss so far. Probably the biggest time loss so far compared to anything, like just compared to anything in your life. This is a big time loss. Obviously, it's a big route map. And we have a good Eirika, we have a good Gilliam, but Gilliam can't move anywhere. We had a bit of a discussion about whether who should take care of the reinforcements and who should like go out and do stuff. And I believe that the best rough sequence is what I did here. Like, details need to be fixed, obviously. I'm finally pulling out my rapier that I got from Chapter 9. I should probably have done it earlier. But yeah, my idea was, okay, Gilliam can't go in a whole lot of places, and some of the Pegasus Knight reinforcements that spawn from the upper right have 1 or 2 range. So the logical person to fight those is Gilliam, I think. Even though it's Eirika who's facing more enemies right now, and arguably more threatening enemies, I think Gilliam is in the right place here, especially with the Berserker with the 1 or 2 range. We can get the Dragon Axe from him. It's possible that after getting this Dragon Axe, we should have kept it on Gilliam and then sent him down south instead of depositing it for in favor of more generic weapons. But my idea was, yeah, Eirika is good enough to handle the enemies that are coming at you from the left immediately. I think they're all 1 range, so that's pretty easy. And she can even deliver some things to Ephraim this way, or start fighting Kalak early. I guess the mages she cannot beat, but she's not in a hurry to fight the mages right now. We just want to give her the initial aggressive enemies. And also, Gilliam is better against the Wyvern Riders. It's not great for having Eirika fight a Wyvern Rider, one which has a Javelin, especially if she's not as good as mine is. Here I'm like, okay, can I fight these fighters without invoking the mages? I can't, so I'm just going to forest here and fight these 2 fighters. But yeah, here we have Ephraim's crew. Noel is not considered drafted. I kind of accidentally decided to leave him in range. I really should not put him in range. Ephraim would have easily been able to handle that one guy. But Ephraim only has like a low-use Javelin, so... this is like one of the few enemies he can fight. I think stat-wise, this auto-leveled Ephraim, he's level 15, is good enough to fight most of the enemies down south. He might not have made it all the way to Falter, and without the Dragon Spear, there's no shot he's good. But yeah, I'm kind of illegally using Null here, might be. Penalize me, DQ the run from world record pace, etc. And yeah, and then I remembered we had the cav reinforcements, so Ephraim is going to have to fight things sooner or later. And maybe it would have been better for Ephraim to just go left immediately. But then Null and Dusel will be stuck fighting here. And like, we might have Null, but we're definitely not going to have Dusel. No one's going to give us Dusel in a SOYO draft. That's just not going to happen. So... yeah, I don't know what the right solution is for it. This is the hardest part of going Eirika Route, I think, is having this small group here against so many enemies that are coming up. And one of the ways we could fix it is having Eirika give Ephraim some more stuff in Chapter 8. This will probably involve I think the fastest way to do it would be to have Ephraim go right from his starting position in chapter 8, and then meet up with someone who's holding like a couple of things for him, like Joshua or something. Like, again, using him as a flunky example, he could move towards Ephraim. They could kill the enemies that are in between them, and then Ephraim would have probably an elixir, 1 or 2 javelins, his own Regent Leaf, maybe a vulnerary, maybe another weapon like an Iron Lance or something, like something he can use against the enemies. And then we don't have to wait for him to get a restock from Eirika. We can send Eirika another way. But yeah, I'm going to keep Gilliam in this upper right area where all the Pegasus Knights are. I figured that's what makes the most sense. Even if Eirika's capable of surviving, she will be a bit slower at killing them. And most of the time, you're not going to have an Eirika that reliably survives that, I think. Alternatively, you can argue that even if your Eirika can be made good enough to do this with like Draco Shield and Angelic Robe, there's other uses for those stat boosters. Like maybe you have a carry that needs them more, like Ford or Garcia, or you can give them to Mur later on. Both of those are good options, I think. But it does feel a little bit weird to have what's basically the strongest 1-2 range unit we have sit in the upper right corner fighting Pegasus Knights. I will admit that is counterintuitive. There's like, yeah, I can put Ephraim on the fort and fight these calves, but I only have so many Regent Leaf uses, and half these calves have javelins, so just going to be attacking me forever. But I don't know if I can survive this whole onslaught of enemies without the fort, so screw it. Regent Leaf it is. Killing 1 cav, and then we're just going to run as far away as possible with the other guys. I think this puts Null out of range. Yeah. Well, another thing Ephraim could bring is like a hand axe to put on Dusel so that he doesn't get attacked. Like, you wouldn't attack with him, but it would be to dissuade enemies from hitting on enemy face so that they go for a Javelin Ephraim as opposed to a hand axe Dusel. But this Ephraim leveled up quite well. I remember in 5X his level ups weren't that good, but his other levels have been pretty great. I'm pretty sure those are randomized, like not fixed growths. And like, boy, he has 18 strength, 19 speed right now. He's better than Eirika somehow, which I wouldn't have thought possible back in Chapter 8X, or Chapter 8. But yeah, another illegal null attack, potentially. Let's pretend that we got null. They gave us null. It was like round 4, they gave us null. There were no worse characters to give us. But yeah, this guy's a ranged attack, so I'm going to use a ranged attack. But now I have 2 Javelin uses remaining on Ephraim. But that's why I brought Eirika down here, is to help restock him. There is a thing that I think we call like fast desert clear, where if you route before turn 8, then you get a bunch of reinforcements from the bottom left and from the top part of the map. And in regular draft races, it's usually your main goal to route the chapter before then, just to save a bunch of time there. Yeah, there they are. I think in this, we just like forfeit the fact that that is not happening. You just don't have enough units to do it, even if the units were strong enough to take on all the enemies. So I think either your carry or Eirika has to go to this part anyway. Either that or Ephraim has to have enough stuff to fight them all himself. And I honestly think the Chapter 8 strategy, where we give Ephraim some stuff, has like real merit. Like, if he just has like 2 20-use javelins, he should be able to fight all this pretty easily. And maybe he won't fight like the paladin and the other ranger that's on the right part, but you can do those later. Like, those don't rush you. This is just to get the fire off of like Null and Dusel, and to clear them as soon as possible. And this way, we don't have to send Eirika down here. We can send Eirika to the top left to fight Kalak right away. Maybe with like a little bit of help to get rid of one of the 2 mages. And the Shaman reinforcements. We probably cannot block the Shaman reinforcements. They seem like walk-on reinforcements. At least some of them seem like it. But that's why I sent Gilliam to the left, so he can take care of the ranged enemies. Obviously, we don't want Null to be the one doing it, because we might not have him. Another reason why I'd be happy to just get Null is he can just help in this chapter. Unironically, I think that this actually makes me not want to give people Null. But it's a SOYO draft. We're gonna have to give people a somewhat useful character at some point. But this kind of did make me want to give someone like a bad early game unit over Null or something, maybe. Like, Null probably better than Joshua in this chapter. Joshua probably better overall. I guess there's a chance that we won't get any characters from the early game, but that'd be a pretty low chance. Because, like, there are so many characters from there. Archer and Lutz, I don't think will be given, although if we do get them, I'll be happy about it. But then you have, like, Natasha, and I don't think Ross will be on there. I don't believe we thought Ross would make it onto the list of people given. If we get Ross again, I'll be pretty happy. Who else do you get early game that's, like, bad? I guess you could be giving Gilliam and, like, another early game character, like Garcia, but that's pretty low odds of happening. I guess theoretically Kyle or Ford could be the one getting the items to Ephraim as well. Pretty low odds of happening though. But that's kind of it for early game characters, isn't it? Like, it's like Joshua and Natasha. Oh, Nami and Colm are also there, I guess. Yeah. Nami is another good candidate for this. So if we get any of those, I'll be pretty happy. There's also like ways the draft could work out to where we actually are forced to carry with someone that we're not expecting, like Nami, which I would find quite amusing. I would happily play through the game with a Nami carry if we had to. I would really enjoy doing that, just as like an improvised challenge. And as bad as she is, obviously not having 1 range or not having 2 range, depending on what she has after promotion, she does have an early-ish promotion. We just like grind her up super hard in chapter 3 or 4, and then if we can get her to level 10, you can just like early promote her and have a somewhat competent unit. And level 10 promoted Nami does seem kind of bad in the long term, but I think by the time it really starts making an impact on her combat, you have the good free units like Ephraim and Myrrh. So it might be a time loss, but it might not be as big of a time loss as you think. But yeah, Eirika gave a bunch of weapons to Dusel. I'm not sure about the Axe Reaver. I pretty much only gave him that with the Berserker in mind, the guy with the Devil Axe. And maybe I should have just chanced it and gave him something else, because I think at some point I'm like running out of Javelin uses here. This Ephraim is so jacked that he can like kill some Wyverns with the Javelin. Normally, in an Ephraim Route draft race, you give him like a Spear and a Dragon Spear just so to make sure he can 1-round, and here that was just not necessary. Eirika's going to go back up and finally try to fight Kalak. Ephraim's going to be one taking care of Falter. This could be one argument for getting the Dragon Spear in chapter 14, because now we have to fight more rounds against Falter, and Falter is very scary. He has, I think, about as much crit as Carlisle does with his Spear, and he has Pierce as well. 19 strength, 20 speed Ephraim, damn, he's so good. Really blessed Ephraim. I start killing some Troubadours. I was a little worried about the survival here, but not going into fort. I was like, fuck it. We ball. We're going in. We're only finding, what, like 5 Wyverns? It'll be fine. And Gilliam is trying to get the boots. It's in a 3x5 vertical by horizontal, so that's the wrong way around, but you know, area around the fort he is. So like it stretches down and right from his current position. And considering how long it took for him to get him, I wasn't sure if I had the zone right. So at some point I'm actually like pausing to look it up. I think the boots are fairly important for this. We can either give him to Gilliam to have an 8-move unit with 1-2 range, or we can give him to Ephraim to have a 9-move unit with 1-2 range. Both seem pretty good. I can give the Myrrh to have an 8-move flyer with only 1 range, but still. Boots with the Myrrh. You gotta boots with the meme. Eirika's almost there. She has 2 move in sand, but Gilliam has or Kalak has a tomahawk. So I don't want to just like step in his range and have to heal. I mean, Eirika has the convoy still, so she can like pull out elixirs. I bought a bunch of elixirs earlier that she can always use, but I only have so many that I want to use, you know? Like, every turn I have the elixirs, a turn I cannot attack. But I don't know if you saw the combat forecast. They're not good. I'm going to slow it down a little bit just so you can see how bad that combat is. It is not good. So he goes from 47 to 33. So we're dealing 14 net damage with the Killing Edge, which is, I think, the strongest weapon she can use. That's, like, reasonably accurate against Kalak. It's possible that maybe the Silver Sword would be a good choice here. I'm assuming most Eirika would still double. Kalak is like 13 speed, I want to say, when he's at 1 range with using the Silver Axe. I think I saved the Silver Sword from Orson's Grasp in 5x. And yeah, Ephraim's combat is pretty bad too. He has to like wait in front of Falter and not double him because Lamau 17 speed, I think is what he got. We're not doubling at least. So Dragon Spear will be really welcome here. And honestly, okay, I didn't know if this was legal at the time, but Dusel's gonna dig for some desert items along with Gilliam because he's taking forever. But I really think what I should have done is do the Dragon Axe on Falter. Gilliam probably gets doubled. At least he definitely would on average without a speed wing. I think mine might have like 15 speed at this point, so he might not. But it's definitely possible that he does. Alternatively, I could have brought him over with the Silver Axe from Dusel. That's another thing I could have done. This is actually really helpful for me to think of like good strategies sometimes. Silver Axe Gilliam probably outperforms Ephraim against this boss. Also, if Gilliam dies, you could probably play on and not have to reset the whole desert chapter. Whereas Ephraim dies, you get a game over. Like, look at how scary this is. I think that was a Pierce non-crit, but hot damn. So Pierce crit definitely kills. I think a normal crit also kills. So I guess the Pierce doesn't really matter. Either way, Ephraim has the Elixir. But yeah, Eirika and Ephraim, they're both just having so much trouble with their respective boss. They cannot attack on player phase. They have to Elixir every time they get hit. And even if they don't get hit, they can't just attack because they get 2-shot. Eirika is like not likely to die because she's like facing 30, maybe 34 hit is what I'm thinking of. And Ephraim gets a crit for free. How very nice. Good job, Ephraim. You're so good. That saves me some time. I guess another strategy that I could employ is trying to get the Hoplon Guard over to Ephraim. I know what I'm doing here. I think just like doing a huge sigh of relief. There we go. Yeah, in case you didn't know, the digital item trick doesn't work in FE8. It's based on a normal RNG, not the secondary RNG that allows you to do the digital item trick in FE6 and FE7, so you just have to like sit on that tile and press wait every turn to get it. But yeah, the Hoplon Guard dropped by Kalak could be used to make Falter more safe. The problem is, of course, that the convoy is with Eirika, but if you are doing Ephraim routes, then we could definitely give this a go. Kill Kalak first. Maybe using Ephraim with Axe Reaver to kill Kalak, and then send someone else to Falter, like Gilliam. I'm kind of down for that. Obviously, it would be after reinforcements are over, but like Gilliam is not doing that much of importance, and Eirika could just be the one digging for desert items, or maybe probably not Null. I forgot if it's skill percent or luck percent. If it's luck percent, obviously Null is no good. But yeah, Hoplon Guard definitely better because this is taking forever. It really is taking forever, and we're gonna break our rapier here too at some point, or our killing edge if we haven't already. So our net damage, yeah, you have one use killing edge, and now we're doing 10 per turn with the rapier. And by 10 per turn, I mean we're doing 10 damage per like round of combat, but he's also healing from 11 to 20 here, so he's healing 9, so we're doing a net of 1 damage. But on his last turn, we get to attack, and then he just dies. And we got the boots. And I think that's the only treasure we want to get. There's probably some strategies where we could use warp. I don't think they're good enough overall to invest a lot of time into. Both like planning time and actual time in the race. But yeah, chapter 16, from here on out, it should be a lot easier because we get Myr for free, and we also have Ephraim, and after this chapter we'll be able to promote Eirika and Ephraim, so they'll both be a lot better. But yeah, we're gonna put a robe on Myr that we saved from chapter 9, I believe. And that robe is nice because it will let Myr survive all the bosses she needs to reliably. I was trying out a strategy that my teammate Pyrope was telling me, that normally you train Myr a lot in this chapter to get her the requisite level ups for her later boss kills, specifically chapters 20 through final. And I was like, yeah, that does seem good. So, but we need the Dragon Soul users for chapter 20 apparently, so I can't just have her get as much level ups as normally. So I'm just gonna have her tag along with Eirika, Ephraim, and Gilliam as they work their way to the throne room. Eirika routes I'm less familiar with, and that extends to this chapter. Like the room just looks completely different in Ephraim compared to Eirika. I did something silly here. Forgot what. I think I do like the least optimal thing with Myr possible, like hit a fighter and just don't kill him. I just assumed Myr would Oko, but she only Okos like Myrmidons. Definitely a part where the routes differences are messing me up a little bit. I'm trying to get Gilliam to counter these mages. Theoretically, they should go for Myr because she doesn't counter. It happens though. Like I think they just couldn't reach, I guess. Can I count the tiles? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like the bottom mage could reach Myr, but I guess she has so much more res they don't feel like it. Completely unnecessary rescue drop. Myr doesn't have to aid to drop anyone, unfortunately. So yeah, good job. We did a rescue drop. We didn't save any time there. None of the enemies move until you go past a horizontal line, and those lines are in the rows above and below the Armor Knights that we're currently murdering in cold blood. Once you pass those lines, you get some reinforcements, enemies start moving, but until then, they don't. So here I'm like, I'll just bunga into the throne room. Myr should be safe, Ephraim should be safe, and we should probably use some Pure Waters here to negate the threat of the Sages, because there's like 1 Purge and 1 Bolting. And it's going to be quite chaotic. But Myr gets lucky and kills one of the heroes. I think this was a... what's this called? Like a double-sided sword? I forgot what the expression is. I didn't realize at the time that Myr was getting doubled by these heroes. I should have, because they're kind of fast. But she crit killed 2 of them, so now I don't have that in my mind. The Sages seem to go for Myr a lot because their HP is so low. It's kind of similar reasons why a Purge Bishop in FE6 would go for, what's her face? Fa. I look at the Orson combat and said it's not worth it to bring Myr in there because she's just gonna die. So I'm just gonna like eliminate a Sage. Probably heal Myr. I should probably like Vulner or Elixir Myr somewhere in a safe spot. Ephraim takes the Axe Reaver to take on the Warriors. Eirika's not afraid of Warriors because only one can attack her at a time, probably. And I just decide to heal Myr. And I do it in front of Orson, which really bad idea. Because she takes like 9 times 2 from Orson, so any other physical enemy can probably bring her down alone. There's one hero left that can do that. So yeah, I miss math here. Some other hero misses. And so now Myr has 19 HP left, and I think Orson did 9 times 2 with what's probably his Silver Sword. And so maybe she's fine, but she's not fine. She takes 10 times 2. So I think what happened there is I checked the combat earlier where she was taking 9 times 2, decided it was safe to put her there, but then Orson switched weapons to like something slightly stronger. I think he has like a spear and a Silver Sword maybe, and that's what happened. But hey, now we know. Now we learned something. I also learned that Gilliam doubles mercenaries at this point. So now we can't set the kill up from her. And my throne room strategy this time around will be even more chaotic. Let me skip to that part when I get there. Okay, we're here. So we're just prepping, making sure. I was trying to figure out, I think, what weapon to use with Gilliam, and I decided to put him with Garm in range of one of the warriors to just preemptively get the guy out of the way. And I figured if Myr gets attacked again by one hero, then the bolting and purge stages will go for her again, and Eirika will be safe. And lo and behold, this time she gets attacked by one hero, 2 heroes, I think. That should probably be fine. Oh, even at 14 HP, she gets attacked by these guys. That's really nice. I guess the other hero cannot reach her. Unfortunately, Physic Priest ruins everything, as he always does. But now it's a bit chaotic because there's like 5 different enemies in range from 5 different angles, and I'm just like having my units attack enemies that seem vaguely threatening, but I think the way I went about it was a bit too haphazard, and I think one of my units can definitely die here if I get unlucky. But surely I won't get a second reset in chapter 16, right? That'd be a bit embarrassing. Yeah, I think I come to the conclusion that Myr might have to heal again. Yeah, I do. I didn't need to Elixir. Phone would have done the exact same thing, but I guess I'm trying to beat Raisins at Elixir Golf even when he's not here. But yeah, Myr takes another 2 hits. I did, fortunately, put her out of range of other enemies at this point. She's just in range of 2 heroes and that's it. And I guess the Purge Sage, but whatever. Or I think it's the Bolting Sage, technically speaking. I'm sorry, I was wrong on the internet. I'm also counting on Myr to keep Eirika safe again with the Bolting. Because I think if Eirika gets hit by like Bolting plus Warrior, she's probably dead. They hit kind of hard. And if I want to take care of that other Warrior that's near Eirika but couldn't attack her, fortunately that guy missed, and so did the Bolting guy, then Ephraim will be in range, for example, of all the Luna guys, but that's fine. I go for like a one-shot with Gilliam on Orson, or like a 2-run kill with like poor hit rates. I don't think there was any need for this. I should maybe have healed him or something. But I guess it's fine if we kill the Sage. I don't think he can die here. It would have been pretty cool, but I couldn't seize his turn anyway, so it might not have been worth attacking. I don't know how the math works out there. Reinforcements move. But yeah, these are the reinforcements that you would probably attack with Myr. On Ephraim Route, you get like 4 easy-to-kill enemies with 1 range only. I think it's like a Valkyrie and then like 3 sword-locked rangers. They can easily feed to her for level ups. And here I think some of the calves have like ranged attacks, and they're unpromoted, so less experience. So probably not worth leaving Myr behind here, even if she's not contributing that much here. But honestly, the extra attacks are really helpful. Here I was like, oh, I can't kill with Garm, but I can probably kill with Horseslayer, right? And I can, and we get lucky. 58 hit. Definitely could have gone worse again. I think we were fine even if we missed there, because what else is going to threaten us? I decided to get the Physic with Myr. Probably not worth the 30 XP, and the Physic we're never going to be able to use. We don't have anyone capable of Sea Staves. And now we get our promotions on Eirika and Ephraim. I definitely think they're both worth promoting in a SOYO context, because they're going to be better than all the other units that we have available. And it gives himself a move. And especially Eirika is going to have to survive the chapter 20 anyway, so might as well make her as strong as possible doing that. And Ephraim is just like a good combat unit. Ephraim is used a lot in Ephraim routes, of course, and from this point onwards we can kind of pretend that we're on Ephraim routes and use them, because I think the chapter differences are effectively over. The main difference being from a normal Ephraim route is that Ephraim can move in deployment order or deployment slots, whereas otherwise he cannot. So we can put him in a further in spot than he usually is, but we don't have a dancer to get him further ahead. So for example, in this chapter, usually when you are playing an Ephraim route and you have Tethys, you can get him to the Leon area very quickly thanks to oh, my convoy is full. It's very embarrassing. So I'm actually like frantically trying to sell something for no reason. Like I should just be going. Like just, if you have to, just do this with Natasha and Seth and whatever. Just get a couple of dumb weapons you don't need anymore. But really this was just unnecessary time loss. And like 5 slots is probably all I needed in convoy anyway. If you have a full convoy, you're constantly prompted to discard stuff when your inventory is full, and it takes an extra menu compared to just dropping in convoy. So that's why I was doing that. Anyway, in this chapter, normally you can get Ephraim to Leon very fast thanks to Tethys, but here that's not possible. Cyrene is free. This question comes up almost all the time, so I guess I'll just answer it here. Cyrene is free because in normal draft races she's free, and that's because chapter 20 is so time consuming for any team that doesn't have any sort of flying that's like rescue drops, so like not Myr, that the race is just completely stacked in favor of teams with Cormag, Vanessa, or Tana. Some team like Paladin, like Franz or Seth, they just can't compete, and they have to completely change their picks to get Cyrene. And one of them is going to be stuck without Cyrene, even they have to like do Tana strategies. So it's pretty awful. And free Cyrene alleviates that issue, makes it more fair. And we decided to just port most of the rules over to this format. And I think it works out because we have no flyers to work with at all in this one. Rip Myr. I forgot to put the Hoplon Guard on her. Forgot about that reset. But yeah, Leon has a little bit of crit, and Myr doesn't have good luck. It's like one of the few stats that her Dragonstone does not fix. And so we have to put the Hoplon Guard in. I also don't have Pure Waters, but we can buy those in a bit. I don't think we need a Pure Water on top of the Hoplon Guard, so it's fine. And here's where I realized Ephraim and friends didn't really add anything to the clear. I could just move Myr and be done with it. The Druids move out of the way. I don't need to clear anything else. Cyrene is completely fine. We could just keep moving until we get to Leon. And because I gave boots to Myr, she reaches very easily. I forgot to like highlight that, but boots with the Myr. But yeah, Cyrene's completely fine. She auto-joins after the chapter, don't have to talk to her. We are allowed to field Vanessa or Tana for this chapter and have them do undrafted things. That could potentially be a thing that we take advantage of a little further. But yeah, technically I think he doesn't move right away, so we have to wait for some other enemies to do stuff. I think they go after civilians. In hindsight, what I should have done is undeploy everyone but Eirika and have Eirika move to the corner or something out of range of the enemies, instead of just getting attacked by a bunch of shit. Because that's going to waste my time. Definitely good to note that. I'm probably going to be doing the late game on our team, so this is the most important portion of the game for me, probably. Yeah, get back to Eirika. Oh, don't get back to Eirika, actually. Just kind of don't. Leon, I hope you come up soon, because this is taking forever, this enemy phase. Come on, just suicide. Yeah, there you go. Get wrecked. Goodbye. Jeez, Leon. Took you long enough. Okay. So I think there's a shop on this chapter that we can use on a map to buy pure waters and elixirs from, since I don't think I bought a lot of those yet. I did say earlier I bought elixirs, but I'm actually not sure if I did. Yep, here we go. Buy Myr pure water and get some more in the convoy. Mostly for Eirika and Cyrene in chapter 20 and Myr in the final. I think those are the most important spots. I guess for against Reeve. And my convoy's full again. Good job. I still have that energy ring that I'm probably going to give to Myr in the end. I was hoping that I was thinking we might have to use it on Gilliam or Eirika at some point, but it never manifested into being necessary somehow. Although when you think about it, there's probably a couple spots to be thought of where energy ring Gilliam would have actually helped kill something faster. Maybe an Oko on a shaman somewhere, or faster boss kill, maybe on Carlisle. 2 more damage with the hatchet seems relevant if we're going with that strategy. So those are more considerations. But yeah, Gorgon Edge chapter. I forgot to field Cyrene. Big blunder on my part. The extra attacks definitely would have helped me here. I complained all commentary long about, oh, I really wish I had an extra unit to attack with, and then the game gives me one and I don't deploy him. SMH. But yeah, the Gorgon eggs I'm pretty sure are all turn-based, like on when they start hatching. So you shouldn't worry about like approaching them. and just like get to them as soon as possible and to kill them. So I don't know why Ephraim in the pre-chapter is like, stay clear of those eggs. But yeah, I have like a rough plan of who to send where. I want to send Myr up where the biggest group of eggs is, both to get her a lot of XP and because she's the safest person to send to a place if it starts hatching. And then I don't really think it matters too much who goes where. I think maybe Gilliam should have been bottom right. Because he's 1-2 range, there's a couple enemies who are 1-2 range, but at the same time there's also a 1-2 range in the center and the top, so he's in high demand. I guess one of them should have been, like, Ephraim and Gilliam have 1-2 range, Eirika does not, so probably Gilliam should have been in one place and Ephraim in the other, and Eirika accompanies whoever goes to the center to kill some eggs. Here I was being a bit overly cautious by like baiting the mogul separately. I don't know if you can hear that car horn, but if you can, I'm sorry. I was trying to like bait the mogul separately from the Gorgon, but I do that because normally when you have a 10 move flyer in like a regular draft, you can then kill the Gorgon on player phase without ever getting in their range, I believe is the idea. But here I can't. If I had Boots Ephraim, I could do this though. So Boots Ephraim might be worth considering, even if we're going Eirika Route. Because Boots Myr, it's been alright, but this might have been more crucial, because this risks a stone hit. Stone works off the normal RNG, so using a Pure Water that would like normally protect you against a status staff doesn't work against stone Gorgons. So I'm just hoping for a dodge here. If one of Gilliam and Ephraim gets stoned, we're probably kind of okay, because the other one can just pick up the slack, kill the Gorgon, and just slowly work their way through. But we're going to see some Gorgons hatch here, because there's no way we can get to all these eggs in time. Ephraim dodges, very fortunate. But surely this Gorgon has to go, but then someone else has to go after the eggs here. And it's just going to get messy, because yeah, we can maybe stop both of these from hatching, but then the upper eggs are not going to be hatchable, and we still have to take care of the boss too. It's awkward. It's very awkward. Eirika goes to the bottom. I think, yeah, both the Gargoyle and the Mogul have 1-2 range, so it would have been slightly faster if I switched Eirika with either Ephraim or Gilliam, I think. Myr seems to be fine, just picking up some egg kills. She's already halfway to max level. And I don't believe any of the eggs in the upper left are hatching in time. There are more generous timers, but the bottom rights are like 2 turns from hatching each, I think. We might have to face one hatch there too. So where would I send Cyrene if she was here? I would instinctively, initially I would send her along with Myr to kill more eggs there faster, and then have Myr do something else maybe, or have Cyrene help with the eyeballs that Myr can't deal with, and then Myr can come over to the top right and help there. Or she could go to the bottom right. I don't really like Myr and Cyrene in bottom right. I think she's not capable of one-rounding this Gargoyle, and would be able to hatch, kill like a hatched Gorgon. So maybe the center, along with Gilliam. Yeah, Eirika faces a hatch here. I guess that is proof that Cyrene would have helped in that corner, because then we could prevent that hatch. Fortunately, that Gorgon didn't move initially. He hits Demon Surge, so it's the only way he will ever attack you, like if you wait another turn, or... Either way, it's not very threatening. The Gorgons I really want to kill before they hatch this stone, and while you cannot see on the overworld what an Gorgon is going to have exactly, you can check by engaging in combat with them and then like checking the forecast real quick. You can see what they would have initially equipped. Unfortunately, I think some of them will have 2 items, and so even if it says like Demon Surge, it still stands that like their second weapon is stone, for example. So it doesn't always work out, but if you see an egg that's going to hatch into one with stone, you can prioritize killing that if you want to. Like, if you look real fast there, I can slow it down a bit, so you can look out for it if you want to. Yeah, you can see that egg had Demon Surge as their top slot. I guess that because monster weapons are considered usable by everyone for some reason in this game, like Demon Surge, then eggs can technically use it too, but eggs never counterattack you. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe eggs have like a special flag that makes them unable to attack, but the game still displays it for some reason. It definitely feels unintended that you can just check it like that. But yeah, this is a good example of why having 2 range here is important to get rid of these 2 eyeballs. And if you didn't kill him initially, then it might be harder to reach the boss and kill him before he stones you. I got lucky on stone misses on this one, I gotta say. I guess if you get Molder through the SOYO draft, you can deploy him here to potentially restore people. I guess another... Oh, actually, Tethys is pretty huge here too. I forgot that Tethys was dead and important. If you had, I think if I had Tethys and Cyrene here, this would be a much easier chapter. It didn't go bad, but it definitely could have if stone had hit or we saw more hatches. Like if this is a stone guy, which it wasn't apparently, then it would have been pretty bad too. But clearly it wasn't. Goodbye. But yeah, hectic chapter. Last Hope, usually considered pretty easy. We can't get like a 1 or 2 turn. We don't have Warp, we don't have Tethys. But like I said, we do have Ephraim capable of moving deployment slots, so I try to replicate the strategy where you just move Ephraim forward. Did a little bit chaotically, and because we are forced to deploy Eirika as well, necessarily someone else is going to be involved, so I was like, alright, might as well put Gilliam here. Worst case scenario is someone blocks Ephraim and he can't get through, so we might as well remove the blockers and take a little bit of extra time to move and use these units to get him out of the way. Thanks to Ephraim being moved forward, he can kill a mercenary right away, and this might force another mercenary to go for an armor knight and then one of the druids for an armor knight, and that way they're less likely to block me, and so I can spend actions doing other things. Ephraim unfortunately ended up with a 1-use javelin through that, and so he didn't kill this one general, and apparently that also not enough to kill whatever he had next. Also wasn't enough to kill another general, so he definitely should equip Regent Leaf here. It's okay to not counter the druids with 1 to range because they're gonna go after the armor knights anyway. They're green guys. So completely fine. The Pontifex in the center is probably not safe. So we should try to protect him if we end up taking longer in this chapter. I don't think we ever will. I don't know why Gilliam had a hammer, but he's very fortunate that he did. And I gave it to him. We get a Brave Lance. I don't think I ever ended up using it, but it could be useful. But yeah, I just want to move Ephraim forward. And I forgot that in the solo strategy, you can have Ephraim just move and then put all the stuff in supply. But because the convoy's on Eirika, we have to do it slightly differently. I use a torch because I remembered that torch is necessary to reveal Riev. I also realized that Ephraim should probably use that torch because he's going to move closer this turn, and I still don't reveal him. So having Tethys here probably solves that. We can never reliably have Tethys at this point. I think every team is going to have to deal with the fact that she can die in Chapter 10 if we're going Eirika routes. Ephraim route, she obviously will be there. There's not a reason to go Ephraim route. It's that you're pretty much guaranteed to have Tethys alive unless you screw up. But if Tethys is here, then Ephraim, I think, ends up on a square where you can torch and reveal Riev, and we can just kill him. As is, though, we can still just put Ephraim next to where we know Riev is, and he'll just kill him on enemy phase. It'll just take a bit longer. But it doesn't end up causing a huge traffic jam. I say this as if it's like fine, but if you look at the timer right now, we're at 2:28 in the run, when a normal Sacred Stones draft race for like Ephraim takes about 2 hours to complete, roughly speaking. So, pretty cringe. I don't remember what Gilliam is doing here. Oh, he's trying to like pure water up, I guess. I don't know what the thought. Oh, I'm trying to give a pure water to Ephraim, but he already had one, so that was a foolish mistake on my part. Yeah, I'm gonna pure water. Put it next to yeah. What I really should have put on him is an Upland Guard, but oh well. And you have the brilliant idea. I can have Eirika have a mass deposit to stop enemies from filing through and attacking Ephraim. She's only in range of like 1 guy because the rest end up, he ends up blocking the choke point. But I guess it prevents its enemies from getting in combat with Ephraim or Gilliam. And Riev attacks fairly early in the turn order. He's no Leon. He is like more in a hurry to die. So there you go. Murdered Riev. Pretty smooth. With that, it would have been even better. Extra glances for Ephraim, I guess, doesn't really matter. Get our rewards. Did that epic skip where we don't get the light brand. Very smart. So cursor management to get to chapter 20 without going to the ruins of Volney. All very important tech. And yeah, chapter 20. So this is a chapter that's like, I think, impossible to do fast without any kind of flyer. And Cyrene is the only flyer that we have access to. The only one with 8 move, the only one that can actually pick up someone. I think if you body ring Myr and don't promote Eirika, Myr can pick up Eirika. But yeah, first of all, getting the body ring seems kind of hard. I don't even remember what the easiest one to get is. I hope it's not the stealable one in chapter 10, but it might be. Yeah, we put the remaining stat boosters that we still have on Myr, because we gotta kill Morva. Morva does 37 damage, piercing defense, and Myr's average at level 20 is like 37-ish HP, so... And we're not even guaranteed to be at full level yet, so the robe definitely necessary. And I just do my normal movement with Myr, trying to get her to the Morva killing zone. I'm trying out... I don't know what the turn-by-turn strategy is, but Pyrope did tell me that apparently there's a way that Mer can just do this without help from anyone else, besides Cyrene dropping Eirika in with a suicide drop. But an alternative could be that, for example, you drop in Ephraim to kill Morpha with. That's the usual. And I think Ephraim has a better shot at surviving here than Morpha. Mer just like wrecks everything, of course. That attacks her at 1 range, so she can get these enemies out of the way and get some last minute level ups. The key here is that Mer right now has 32 HP, and she needs 37 to even survive Morpha. And if she has, say, 38, for example, she would die to any kind of chip damage. So ideally we want more, and that would be an argument for having a higher level Mer at this point, because whenever she levels up she gains 1 or 2 points of HP, depending on her, you know, luck with the RNG. But if she levels to 37 HP here, for example, she doesn't have 37 current HP, she has 37 max HP, and she would need to use an elixir to get to that point. So that would be one reason to give more levels to Mer beforehand. Now here, I don't want to activate the reinforcement zones. They start like around that center mountain. If you go beyond that, you're probably in range. But I can take like 1 turn of reinforcement waves. I need that square for Cyrene, I know. So I have Cyrene Pure Water here carrying Eirika. Eirika will use the Pure Water on turn 1. Next turn, Cyrene is going to drop Eirika on C's range. We hope C survives. Cyrene will probably die, but that is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. But Mer needs to be in a tile, out of range of the Stone Gorgon, and in range of next to Morva, so that she can attack him or wait in front of him. If Mer has enough speed, she can double Morva, but apparently her level 20 average, I think, does or does not barely double Morva. It's like right there, but if she's not level 20, she's not going to make that. The problem with raising Mer to a higher level, of course, is that she can run out of Dragonstone uses. And apparently we need a lot of those here. I don't know how much she needs. I think mine ended up in final chapter with like 5 uses left. That's probably too little. I'd have to math this out a little harder. You can probably math that out pretty accurately. But that's why we didn't want to use her as much as chapter 16, is because Dragonstone uses might run low in this chapter. The more Cyrene faces, the less Mer has to face, I guess, so that could be one way to minimize them. This drop positioning definitely not ideal. If, say, Riev wants to attack Cyrene from below Mer, he will block Eirika's way to the throne in conjunction with like other enemies. I guess Mer would be able to kill, but if Mer doesn't double Morva, then Mer needs to play a phase action to kill Morva. And Mer right now has 17 speed. I think that's right on the cusp of doubling Morva. I think when I checked the combat on player phase, we did not double Morva. And now we kind of do. I'm going to slow it down. There we go. Yeah, so we take 37 damage, almost die, but we do double. Very fortunately. But if you paid attention to turn 1 enemy phase, you might realize that there is a slight problem at hand. And the problem is not that Riev does damage to Mer. He doesn't. I checked later and the res is too big. The Cyclops also doesn't do damage, as you can see. Like, Mer is completely invincible. Goodbye, Riev. Hope you had fun. GG. Interesting, he went for Mer at 1 HP over Cyrene, even though there's 0 damage. Again, a funny thing where the enemy AI just checks if they can put you to low HP. They don't check if they actually do damage to you. Well, they do, but they also check if they can, quote-unquote, put you on low HP. But did you spot the problem with Mer? I hope you did, because I'm excited for it. Cyrene somewhat ends up surviving here, but we're poisoned. Wow, wow. So we're gonna have to do this over again, because poison happens. Pretty painful. That's 6 minutes of our time down the drain, roughly speaking. Minus preps. Because preps we did do during the same split. But that's our 6-minute reset. That's pretty bad. And that's why Mer needed the robe and levels and still didn't get there. Sag. I checked here, like, which enemy poisoned me. Maybe I can kill them, but it's one of the gargoyles. I think the leftmost gargoyle. He's always going to be in my range. But maybe he's not. I think... So what I could do is, like, not go in range of the gargoyle, and then next turn, I can still make it to where I need to be for turn 3. But the problem with that is the gargoyle would just poison me later. And then I would just take poison damage anyway, and I think I would still end up the same problem. I guess if I get poisoned later, when I have a higher level, can I heal myself to a higher threshold to survive? I don't think so. I don't know for sure though, but yeah, we got poisoned again, I didn't dodge. You could theoretically maybe reset for a dodge here, just hope she doesn't get poisoned. But yeah, here we go again with the level ups and the enemy phase. I'll speed up for y'all. In fact, I'm gonna skip to the point where we get to Morva. Okay, so here we are again, in position. You'll notice, by the way, I used Ephraim and Gilliam, well, mostly Ephraim, to get the enemies away from Cyrene on turn 1. Forgot to point it out. Make sure the bow guy went the other way. And I'm gonna run away with them if I remember. I won't remember. I'm gonna forget. Okay, so this time I put Myr in front of Morva. I healed. I think this time I have a couple more levels under my belt after I elixir, and so the damage that I took from poison in the meanwhile and the level ups that I got will benefit me when I use that elixir, and I should be able to survive more hits. And by more hits, I mean I can survive Morva plus the poison damage. Hopefully. I didn't check. And also the positioning on Eirika and Cyrene is a little different. I believe now this time Cyrene's on the right instead of on the left for Eirika. I don't know what the exact proper formation is, but Pyrope will probably tell me eventually when I need to. And I should be able to put him in the right spot. How much speed is this? Okay, we're good on speed. The one risk right now is that Cyrene is in a spot where she can still be attacked at 2 range by Riev. And if these gargoyles don't kill her, which seems to be happening, then Riev will be the one to do that, and he might get in the way of Eirika. And if Myr needs to kill Morva on her turn, which I think she does, or 2 HP, oh no. Are we good? Poison does 1 or 2 damage on start of player phase, so we might die with Myr again here, actually. And yeah, Riev gets in my way and kills Cyrene, unfortunately. Cyrene got lucky last time. We're considering robing Cyrene for this, just to make sure that she survives into Final Chapter, where she'll save a bunch of time too, like 2 minutes, but I'd rather ensure that I don't have to reset this chapter, which as you saw was like 5 minutes probably. And the guy goes for Myr, okay. And yeah, now what? Do we just have to survive another turn? Ooh, who almost died to the poison there. Okay, so Myr has to heal herself, obviously. There's no other action she can take that will help her survive. And I guess I just have... I thought, oh, sorry, Eirika could just kill Riev, but turns out, no, she can't. So Morva gets to go again. And now Myr is seriously going to run lower on Dragonstones, because I think the enemies will prioritize her. I actually don't know if they would. I think if they move after Morva, they would definitely prioritize her, but it looks like even now they're prioritizing her. Even though Eirika is right there. And I'm pretty sure Eirika has lower defense. She's also bulky, but she's also got lower defense. And I don't believe they can sense lower Dragonstone uses. I should have moved Ephraim back to the corner here, and I should have just not deployed Gilliam. Of course. Myr survives Morva with 6 HP. So now we're definitely not dying. But we're going to be very low on Dragonstone uses. Which, if you saw the draft race with the last FE8 draft race, or I think the combined FE7 plus FE8 draft race, you might really see a pattern. Because that happens a lot at this point. But yeah, Morva's down, and Eirika's free to seize, and Myr survives the poison. Thank the Lord. Here we go. And we're on to the final chapter. Now, the final chapter preps menu, I do something a little strange. I try to get Myr to a deployment slot where she'll be in range to detect the Demon King in phase 2. Because part 2 of the chapter uses the part 1 deployment order to determine who goes where. So here I'm like looking at my notes trying to figure out where to put her again. And somehow I do it wrong anyway. She should be in slot 6. And that's where she ends up. But somehow it was wrong anyway. But yeah, these would obviously be drafted units if I had them. I just had to figure out which they are. And I'm not exactly sure what my strategy for final chapter should be. This is just a guess. I think the first attempt I do, which as I just kind of said, kind of goes wrong. Shoots Myr straight through the middle and tries to make it through. But without a flyer to punch open the white formation in front of Leon, she has no way to get through without getting blocked by a bunch of Gorgons. And in addition, my poor Myr doesn't have enough Dragonstone uses to fight a bunch of enemies. She's like 11 remaining, I want to say. And that's going to run out at some point. She's going to need at least like 3 or 4 for Leon alone. So we can't just afford to fight all these whites and stuff. The whites don't move, but the Gorgons will force themselves into a position where they can get me. And of course, if I want to go through the middle white, which is the straightest path to Leon, I'm in range of 2 stone Gorgons that I would also have to dodge. So no matter what, I think this is not the way for Myr. But we'll have to find out the hard way, apparently. I didn't do a good job of planning out a strat here. I'm trying to avoid the sides because the Draco zombies are there and they're longer, but I think with this team and no Cyrene alive, you just have to accept that you have to go through here. But yeah, 8 Dragonstone uses left. I use a Pure Water as I stand in front of the white formation. But I'm in range of 2 Stone Gorgons, and if they freeze me there, it might as well just be a death and a reset. Like, it's going to take so long for her to get out, especially because even if she does eventually unstone without dying, which I think she can, she's like invincible, and stone doesn't unequip your weapon, you'd still be stuck there. You'd probably get stoned again, in fact. No, you get cured at the start of your turn, so I guess you get another turn to move at that point. So if no Gorgons get in my way, I guess I could go for Leon at that point and probably get there. But yeah, that white told me, like, okay, you're not getting through. Because he stands in front of Leon, so that means I have to kill the white, and then at that point I'm down to, like, no Dragonstone uses. The Gorgons will suicide on me, which is another 2 Dragonstone uses down. So I need them all. And here I'm trying to do the deployment slot again, just to, like, make sure I'm not, like, gaslighting myself into thinking I did it correctly. But, oh no, wait, I'm doing it because I didn't save my preps. And, but I find out in part 2 that I didn't do it right for some reason. I think she was not in range turn 1 to attack the Demon King, so that's something I have to look into. I think it's an Eirika Route difference. I was gonna go to the right side, and then I remembered that the eyeballs came in, and I'd rather have the death goils come in as reinforcements, which I think depends on which side of the chapter you go through. But they were switched up for Eirika and Ephraim routes, so I wasn't exactly sure which direction to go here. But yeah, I'm going through the sides this time. Fighting a Draco Zombie, I'm not worried about like how strong they are. They are strong, but I'm more worried about just like the time cost of going through this, fighting all these whites. And I guess also maybe fighting some reinforcements. I think Gilliam is going to stay behind to keep the extra deploys safe. It's not that I care about their lives, like don't get me wrong. I just don't want to have the time loss of them dying. And I also... I want them to be existing when we get to part 2, because I think their existence is still relevant for determining the deployment slots, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm also just killing these enemies that move around all the time. I guess that's also a thing I'm doing. There's Gilliam. I actually hit level 20. I forgot about that. I didn't expect him to make it to level 20. Usually my carries, yeah, even someone like Seth carry or Franz carry doesn't make it to 20, but here we are. Good job, Gilliam. I guess he did fight a lot more. I think in Eirika Route you fight a lot more in general. Maybe on Eirika Route, you're just more likely to hit 20. Anyway, Eirika finished off this Draco Zombie because Ephraim was low on HP. This will give Ephraim the time to use an elixir and move forward. And then the plan is for him to be the one who punches a hole in the white formation. After he heals up, of course. I'm putting him here to like maybe kill these bow whites, which I think are kind of in the way. But now I'm not sure where to put Mur exactly. And I think this is an okay spot to do it. But, well, it turns out they find a way to attack her anyway. But it's fine, they're out of the way. They're not going to be bothering us for long enough. So Ephraim goes here, kills this white. He's in range of, I think, 1 too many magic attacks to survive always. And if I did this again, I probably would give him Pure Water. I think the correct position for Mur is, like, a little behind Ephraim or, like, far away from Ephraim. But in a way that she can still attack Leon. Eirika was going to chap one of the whites with her, but decided, you know what, might as well move forward in case I have to kill 2 things to somehow get to Leon. That might happen. But we'll see how it goes. I think Ephraim, if he gets attacked by that Archmogul and 2 Shadow Shots, he can die. But it looks like he's dodging his way out of trouble. But I think with a Pure Water, he would be okay. And the Archmogul, because Ephraim is not on low HP, goes for Mur, since Mur doesn't counter. And Ephraim does an awesome job at distracting enemies without dying. It's another enemy that could have attacked Ephraim and killed him. He has 14 res, 21 with the Pure Water, so he probably would have been okay. Ephraim doesn't have to kill anything here, I just have to attack with Mur. We 3-round Leon, 11 Dragonstone uses. I'm just showing those to make sure for future viewers that we know. And I get a nice crit on Leon. Good time save, very lucky. But eventually he would have gone through, but that saves me some time. And yeah, Mur can attack Demon King turn 1, so I must have screwed up something in the formation. Ephraim by himself actually does 30 times 2 to the 120 HP of the Demon King. Let's not speed up the final battle, shall we? So that means if I were to heal Ephraim here, he could actually do it himself. But of course, I can't just have Ephraim kill the final boss. That'd be boring. So you have Ephraim chip him down to 60 HP. And Eirika always has this deployment slot, so she can always do this attack. Normally, in draft races, my Eirika is not at the level where she can survive all this. But now she is, so I'm going to take full advantage and hit him for 36 total. While getting low. Of course, it's risk-free to do all this, because the Demon King will always use his enemy phase to summon enemies instead of attacking you, so putting yourself down to low HP in front of the final boss is actually completely safe. Gilliam is just out of range, so we're gonna have to wait a turn and do a summoning ritual. He ends up summoning 2 Draco Zombies. Very cool and very balanced. But they don't move initially, so we can go in now. And Gilliam, he's gonna have to hit a 62, but he's got 2 shots at it thanks to the Garm's plus speed bonus. And there you go. That is time SOYO, Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, beaten in 2 hour 54:52. Probably about an hour behind the usual estimate for how long it takes to get from the beginning to the end. But it was fun. It was a journey. Gosh, this is going to be a painful, painful race. But it was nice to get some practice in for Eirika Route, and it was nice to get some practice in with Gilliam. Learned a lot. Deploy Cyrene in late game, definitely important in like Gorgon X chapters especially. Draft a flunky to do some fun things with, like opening a door in chapter 14. Hope we get Null for chapter 15. In general, just a lot of things to improve upon. And I think you could recently push this at like 230, 240 range, probably, if you're good. If you're better than me. I'm going to speed through the credits here. I don't remember how fast I speeded through it. That's pretty fast. That's pretty good. There's Gilliam. 337 battles, 240 wins. I think he's MVP. Eirika got a lot of battles too, but I don't think she got to 270. 3 something, 2 something. That's all I remember. I have a very bad short-term memory, apparently. Tana got some battles in. Cyrene got some battles in. But what I need is Eirika and Ephraim. But yeah, SOYO battles definitely come down to the free units a lot more. And on one hand, it feels like a bit against the spirit of the game, but also it's all about picking the right carry to go along with the free units, I guess. Or rather, hoping you get the right one, I guess. Or working with what you got. That's really what SOYO is about. Yeah, there you go. Less than 200 battles. Scrub. Gilliam is the best. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. It's not my usual style of commentary, these speedruns, but I hope you liked it. If you want to see the full VOD of the run, I plan to post it on my second channel, where you can watch Gilliam erase all these enemies at his own pace. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the stat screens. Goodbye.